What if prosperity was not a mountain to be climbed, but a current to merge with? A powerful, silent river of abundance that has always been flowing, waiting not for your struggle but for your surrender. Look around you, and you can feel the truth of this. You see the relentless effort, the endless striving, the exhaustion etched on the faces of those who spend their lives paddling furiously against a current they cannot see. Perhaps you feel it in your own bones, this deep weariness from the chase. You have worked hard, you have followed the rules, you have sacrificed, and yet the feeling of true, unshakable abundance remains distant, like a landscape on the other side of a vast canyon. You stand on the riverbank, hearing the rush of its power, seeing others seemingly float by with ease, and a quiet, painful question echoes in the chambers of your heart. Why not me? Why does it seem so effortless for some and an impossible battle for others? This question does not come from a place of envy, but from a place of deep, soul-level confusion. You have been told that the prize goes to the one who struggles most, yet your struggle has only brought more struggle. You have been taught that your value is tied to your productivity, yet your productivity has left you feeling empty. This is the great deception of the modern world. The story that you are separate from the abundance you seek, that it is something outside of you, a reward to be earned, a fortress to be sieged. And so you fight, you plan, you worry, and you exhaust the very energy that would allow you to simply step into the flow. But now, let us put down the weapons of that fight. Just for this moment, let us step away from the noise of the world and its hollow promises. This is not another strategy, not another technique to add to your arsenal of effort. This is an invitation to come inside, to enter the quiet sanctuary of your own being, where the true work is done. This is a journey to recalibrate your internal frequency, to retune the instrument of your soul so that it may finally play in harmony with the symphony of the universe. The change you seek will not come from a shift in your circumstances. It will come from a shift in you. It begins here, in this stillness, by acknowledging a simple, profound truth. The river is already flowing. It has always been. Your task is not to create it, but to allow it. Let us begin. Before we can learn to swim in the river of abundance, we must first attune our ears to a different sound. It is not the sound of the river itself, but the low, persistent hum of the dam we have built to hold it back. It is a structure so old, so deeply embedded in the bedrock of our being, that we have forgotten it is even there. We mistake its shadow for the horizon, its cold stone for the edge of the world. This dam is the echo of scarcity. It is the ghost in the machine of your mind. It is not your fault that it exists. Let that sink in for a moment. This feeling of lack, this chronic, low-grade anxiety that there will never be quite enough, is not a personal failure. It is not a sign of your weakness or your inability. It is a program, a piece of code handed down through generations, installed in your subconscious, long before you had the capacity to question it. It was coded in the worried whispers of your parents about bills, in the societal praise of struggle and sacrifice, in the cautionary tales of those who dared to want too much and lost everything. It is the voice of a grandparent who lived through a depression, the fear of an ancestor who faced famine. This code runs silently in the background of your life, a phantom operating system that governs your decisions, your reactions, and your perception of reality. It is the ghost that flinches when you consider buying something beautiful for yourself, whispering, "You should save that, you don't really need it." It is the ghost that feels a pang of guilt when you rest, insisting that you must always be productive, always be earning your right to exist. It is the ghost that looks at the success of others and feels not inspiration, but a confirmation of its own inadequacy, a reinforcement of the lie that there is a finite amount of prosperity and someone else has just taken your share. This ghost is a master of disguise. It calls itself practicality, realism, being responsible. It dresses its fear in the robes of wisdom, and because its voice is so familiar, so constant, you have mistaken it for your own. You believe that you are the one who is worried, you are the one who is anxious, you are the one who believes in limits, but you are not. You are the consciousness that is aware of the ghost. You are the sky, and these thoughts of scarcity are merely clouds, dark and heavy as they may seem, that drift across your vastness. And here lies the central conflict, the inner war that creates so much tension and drains so much of your life force. Your conscious mind, your soul, your true self, yearns for expansion. It longs for freedom, for the joy of creation, for the peace of knowing you are supported. It sees the river and it wants to merge with it. But the ghost, the program of scarcity, stands guard at the water's edge. Every time you take a step toward abundance, it pulls you back with the cold chains of fear. You get a new opportunity, and the ghost whispers, "What if you fail?" You receive an unexpected sum of money, and the ghost panics, "You'll lose it, it won't last." You dream of a bigger life, and the ghost projects 1,000 catastrophic scenarios, showing you all the ways it could go wrong. This conflict between your infinite desire and your programmed fear is the source of self-sabotage. It is why you procrastinate on your most important goals. It is why you feel like an imposter when you do succeed, unable to truly enjoy it because you are braced for the inevitable loss that the ghost has promised. You are torn between the memory of lack and the possibility of more. The core message, the first ray of light that penetrates this inner gloom, is this: you cannot fight a ghost. You cannot argue with an echo. To struggle against the program is to give it more energy, to validate its reality. The moment you fight a thought of lack, you are affirming its power over you. The path to freedom is not through battle, but through awareness. Your power lies not in silencing the echo, but in recognizing that it is an echo, and nothing more. It is old sound, reverberating in a space that is no longer occupied. It is a memory, not a prediction. The machine is not broken. You are not broken. You are simply running outdated software. And the first step of any system upgrade is to run a diagnostic, to see what programs are running in the background. So, let us try a simple practice, a gentle experiment in awareness. For the next 24 hours, your only task is to become an observer, a scientist of your own inner world. Your mission is not to change anything, not to fix anything, not to judge anything. It is simply to notice. Notice the voice of scarcity when it speaks. When you look at your bank account and feel a knot in your stomach, just notice it, label it. Ah, there is the scarcity program running. When you hesitate to order what you truly want from a menu, choosing the cheaper option out of habit, notice it. There is the echo of not enough. When you feel a surge of resentment, seeing someone else's vacation photos, notice that too. That is the ghost comparing and despairing. Do not engage with the thoughts. Do not condemn them. And most importantly, do not believe them. See them as clouds drifting through the sky of your awareness. They are not you. They are atmospheric conditions generated by an old weather machine. By observing without judgment, you create a space between you, the observer, and the thought that is being observed. In that space, freedom is born. In that space, you reclaim your power. You stop identifying with the ghost, and you begin to remember that you are the house it haunts, and you have the power to open the windows and let the light in. Think of your inner world as a vast, deep cave. For years, perhaps your whole life, you have been standing at its mouth, shouting, "There is not enough." And from the depths of the cave, the echo has faithfully returned your cry, "Not enough, not enough, not enough." Hearing this echo, you believed it to be the truth of the cave itself. You thought the cave was a place of emptiness, but you were the source of the sound. The echo was merely a reflection of your own broadcast. This practice of observation is the act of falling silent. You stop shouting your belief in lack, and in the silence that follows, you may begin to hear something else. The gentle dripping of water, hinting at a hidden spring. The soft stirring of air, suggesting another passage. In the silence, the true nature of the cave can be revealed. It is not empty. It is full of potential, full of undiscovered treasures. But you could never see them or hear them over the noise of your own fearful echo. So be silent and observe. Watch the ghost in the machine. Listen to the echo of scarcity, and know with a quiet, growing certainty that you are neither the ghost nor the echo. You are the silence that holds them both. And in that silence, a new world awaits its creation. Having fallen silent, having learned to watch the ghost in the machine without judgment, you have created a space, a sacred, quiet clearing in the dense forest of your habitual thinking. For the first time, perhaps, there is a pause in the endless broadcast of scarcity. Into this silence, we now bring the divine tool of creation. We move from the passive act of observation to the sacred, active power of imagination. Society has taught you to misunderstand this power. It has relegated imagination to the realm of children, of artists, of dreamers, dismissing it as a form of idle fantasy, an escape from the real world. This is the most profound and disempowering lie you have ever been told. Your imagination is not an escape from reality. It is the very workshop where reality is forged. It is the architectural firm of your existence, and every single thing that now constitutes your physical world was once a blueprint drawn within its walls. The chair you sit on, the room you are in, the relationships you have, the state of your health and your finances, all are the hardened facts of what were once fluid, imaginal acts. Understand this. The subconscious mind, the vast, powerful, non-rational part of you that governs your bodily functions, your automatic behaviors, and your energetic state, does not know the difference between an experience that is vividly imagined and an experience that is physically real. To it, both are legitimate inputs. Both create neural pathways. Both alter your chemistry. Both tune your vibrational frequency. When you worry, you are imagining. You are using your divine faculty of creation to meticulously build a future you do not want. You are drawing a detailed blueprint of failure, and you are flooding that blueprint with the powerful emotion of fear. Your subconscious mind receives this blueprint, accepts it as an instruction, and begins to orchestrate your body, your perception, and your energy to bring that undesired reality into being. You become clumsy. You miss opportunities. You radiate an energy of anxiety that repels the very things you seek. You have been a master architect of lack, all while believing you were merely being a realist. The power has always been in your hands. You have simply been building from the wrong blueprint, a design handed to you by the ghost of scarcity. Now, the rational part of your mind, the part conditioned by a world that believes only in what it can touch and measure, will rebel against this. It will scream, "This is foolishness. This is childish daydreaming." Life is serious, it is hard, and you cannot change it by simply closing your eyes and pretending. Acknowledge this voice of skepticism. Thank it for trying to protect you based on its limited understanding. And then, gently, ask it to step aside. This is the great inner conflict you must now navigate. The battle between the evidence of your senses and the promise of your soul. Your senses report back the facts of your current reality, the world created by your past imaginings. Your soul, your deeper self, whispers that you are not bound by these facts, that you are the creator of facts. To whom will you give your loyalty? The past or the future? The prison of what is, or the freedom of what can be? This is the core truth you must grasp, the foundation upon which your new world will be built. The universe, God, the creative power of existence, does not respond to your pleading, your begging, or your wanting. The state of wanting is a powerful imaginal act that only creates more wanting. To want something is to passionately affirm that you do not have it. The universe, in its infinite and impersonal love, simply agrees with your state of being and gives you more of the experience of not having. It does not respond to what you want. It responds to who you believe you are. Therefore, the great secret of creation is to shift your imaginal act from one of wanting to one of having. It is to assume, in the vividness of your imagination, the feeling of your wish already fulfilled. You must become, in imagination, the person you desire to be in reality, long before your senses can confirm it. Let us make this practical. Let us take this profound spiritual law and turn it into a practice you can perform tonight. This technique, sometimes called the state akin to sleep, or SATS, is most effective in that fertile, drowsy window just before you drift into unconsciousness. This is when the conscious, skeptical mind is quiet, and the gateway to the subconscious is wide open. Your mind becomes like soft clay, ready to receive a new impression. First, get into a comfortable position. Relax your body, part by part. Let go of the day. Now, bring to mind your desire, but do not think of your desire. Do not see it as something in the distance. You must now think from your desire. This is a crucial distinction. If your desire is for financial security, do not imagine a check coming in the mail. That is an act of getting, which implies you do not yet have. Instead, imagine a short, simple scene that takes place after your wish has been fulfilled. What would you be doing? What conversation would you be having? Perhaps you are speaking with a loved one, and you hear them say, "Isn't it wonderful how everything has worked out for you?" And you respond, "Yes, it is. I feel so at peace." That is it. A simple, natural scene that implies fulfillment. Now, within this drowsy, relaxed state, begin to loop that short scene in your imagination, over and over again. But this is not just a visual exercise. You must bring your senses into the imaginal act. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you touch? Most importantly, what do you feel? Feel the warmth of relief flooding your chest. Feel the gentle curve of a smile on your lips as you say the words, "I feel so at peace." Feel the feeling of, "It is done." This feeling is the water that nourishes the seed of your imagination. Without it, the seed remains dormant. The feeling is the signal to your subconscious mind that this is not a fantasy, but a reality to be actualized. Dwell in this feeling. Marinate in it. Loop the scene and the feeling until it becomes so real, so natural, that you are no longer consciously directing it. It takes on a life of its own. Then, fall asleep in that state. You have successfully planted the seed in the fertile ground of your subconscious. You have handed the blueprint to the master builder. Do not be discouraged if your mind wanders, or if it feels artificial at first. This is a muscle you are developing. Your mind is a garden, and for years you have unconsciously allowed the weeds of scarcity and fear to grow wild. Now, you are learning to be a conscious gardener. Your imagination is the seed you choose to plant. Your feeling is the water. Your subconscious is the soil. You cannot plant a seed of abundance in the evening and then spend the next day watering it with emotions of worry and doubt, digging it up to see if it has sprouted. Your work is done in the silence of the night. During the day, your task is to protect the seed. When thoughts of lack arise, remember the echo, observe it, and let it pass. Refuse to give your energy to the old blueprint. Your loyalty is now to the unseen reality you are cultivating within. This is not about delusion. It is about a deeper reality. It is an allegiance to the creative power within you, a quiet, confident knowing that what is done in imagination is a fact in the spiritual world, and will, in its own perfect time and in its own perfect way, harden into a physical fact. You are the architect of your world. Now, pick up your tools and begin to draw the blueprint of heaven. You have the blueprint. Within the sacred workshop of your imagination, you have sketched the architecture of a new reality, a life of freedom, peace, and abundance. You have held the feeling of its completion, planted the seed in the fertile darkness of your subconscious mind. It is a perfect design, and yet the work stalls. the foundation is never poured. The structure never rises. Why? Because the most skilled architect, holding the most brilliant blueprint, cannot build a palace if they believe, in the deepest recesses of their heart, that they are only worthy of a shack. We now arrive at the very heart of the dam, the central keystone that holds back the entire river of abundance. We have come to confront the great saboteur, the silent poison in the well of creation. We have come to shatter the mirror of unworthiness. This feeling of being undeserving is the most potent and insidious program in the human psyche. It is a dense, heavy fog that seeps into everything, distorting your perception, draining your will, and ensuring that even if prosperity should find you by accident, you will not be able to keep it. It operates from a simple, brutal logic. You can only receive and retain that which you subconsciously believe you deserve. Anything more creates an intolerable inner conflict, a state of dissonance that your psyche will rush to resolve. And it will always resolve it by bringing your outer world back into alignment with your inner conviction of unworthiness. This is the source of all self-sabotage. It is why lottery winners so often end up broke again. It is why you get close to a major breakthrough, only to make a foolish mistake that snatches defeat from the jaws of victory. It is why you find it easier to give than to receive, why a compliment can feel more awkward than an insult. Your inner thermostat for joy and abundance is set too low. When the temperature of your life rises above that setting, you unconsciously find a way to open a window and let the cold air of lack back in. It is not because you are foolish. It is because you are loyal to your deepest belief about yourself. This belief in your own unworthiness was not born with you. It was carefully taught. It was woven into you by a culture that glorifies the struggle and is suspicious of ease. It was conditioned by well-meaning parents who taught you humility by discouraging you from celebrating yourself. It was absorbed from ancient religious dogmas that equated wealth with wickedness and poverty with piety. You were taught that to be good, you must be small. To be worthy of love, you must put yourself last. To earn your place in heaven, you must endure a life of suffering on earth. And so you carry this tremendous burden of guilt. Guilt for past mistakes, guilt for not being perfect, even guilt for simply existing and taking up space. You walk through life as if you are spiritually indebted, believing that you must first pay for your sins, your flaws, and your very humanity before you can be allowed to receive the blessings of life. You believe prosperity is a reward for perfection, and since you know you are not perfect, you have sentenced yourself to a life of lack. This creates a painful and exhausting war within you. There is a part of you, the divine spark, the voice of your soul, that knows the truth. It knows you are magnificent. It knows you are a creator, deserving of all the beauty and joy and abundance the universe has to offer. This part of you dreams the big dreams and draws the beautiful blueprints. But there is another part, the conditioned ego, the inner critic, the ghost of scarcity that stands as a relentless prosecutor. It holds up a mirror, but this mirror is cracked and distorted. It reflects back to you every mistake you have ever made, every harsh word ever spoken to you, every failure, every flaw. And it says, "See, this is who you are, an imposter, a fraud. Who are you to ask for more? Who are you to dream of abundance? You are not one of the chosen ones. Be quiet, be grateful for the little you have, and do not dare to ask for more, lest it all be taken away." And so you are paralyzed between these two forces. The part of you that wants to soar, and the part of you that insists on clipping its own wings. This conflict consumes the very energy you need to create the life you desire. Now, we must speak the truth that shatters the mirror. It is a truth so simple and so absolute that the conditioned mind will struggle to accept it. Here it is. Your worth is not negotiable. It is not something you earn. It is not something you can increase through good deeds or decrease through mistakes. Your worth is inherent, absolute, and unconditional. It was bestowed upon you at the moment of your conception. You are worthy because you exist. You are worthy because you are a unique expression of the same life force that animates the stars and breathes through the forests. Prosperity is not a reward for good behavior. It is a natural consequence of accepting your own divine inherent value. The universe is not a judge weighing your merits. It is a mirror reflecting your own self-perception. As long as you look into the mirror and see a sinner, a debtor, an imposter, it will reflect back to you a world of punishment, debt, and lack. When you have the courage to look into the mirror and see a divine being, worthy of all things, it has no choice but to reflect back a world of grace, abundance, and love. This is not just a concept. It must become a felt reality. And we will begin to install this new reality with a practice of profound confrontation and love. Tomorrow morning, go to a mirror. Before the day's worries and distractions begin, stand before your own reflection. Your task is not just to look at yourself, but to look into yourself. Make eye contact. See past the tired eyes or the lines of stress. Look for the light behind the eyes. Take a deep breath, and then speak these words aloud. I am inherently worthy of all the abundance the universe has to offer. Say it again and again. The first few times, it may feel like a lie. Your throat may tighten. You may feel foolish. You may feel a wave of sadness or anger. This is good. This is resistance. It is the old program fighting for its life. It is the sound of the old dam beginning to crack. Do not fight these feelings. Allow them. But keep looking into your own eyes and keep speaking the truth. Your job is not to force yourself to believe it instantly. Your job is to create a new voice that is louder, clearer, and more consistent than the voice of the inner prosecutor. Do this every single day. It is not an act of vanity. It is an act of reclaiming your soul. It is you, the true self, speaking to the lost, conditioned self and reminding it of its royal heritage. This brings us to our final metaphor, the truth of your situation. You are like a king who, as a child, was struck with amnesia, spirited away from the palace, and raised in a remote village as a pauper. You have grown up believing in hardship. You have learned to beg, to scrape by, to live on crusts of bread. Your entire identity is built around the idea that you are poor and powerless. Then, one day, a messenger from the court finds you. He kneels before you and says, "My king, we have been searching for you. Your throne awaits." Your first reaction is disbelief, fear. You think it is a cruel joke. You are a pauper, not a king. The messenger does not argue. He simply holds up a royal crest, a locket you have worn your whole life, believing it to be a worthless trinket. He holds up a mirror, and for the first time, you see the faint outline of a crown above your head. The journey back to the palace is not about learning to become a king. It is about the painful, joyful, terrifying process of remembering that you have always been a king. The affirmations, the imaginal acts, the moments of silence, these are not tools to build a new identity. They are tools to dismantle a false one. They are the messengers reminding you of who you truly are. You are not a sinner begging a distant god for scraps. You are the royal child of the universe, reclaiming your divine inheritance. Now, shatter the pauper's mirror and let's go home. You are beginning to remember who you are. The mirror of unworthiness has begun to crack, and through those fissures, you are catching glimpses of your own royal nature. You have the blueprint of your palace from the workshop of imagination, and you are starting to believe you deserve to live in it. Now, you must understand how to fund its construction. The currency of the kingdom of self, the very substance from which all things are built, is your attention. It is the most valuable and most sought-after commodity in the universe. It is pure, creative energy, and where your attention goes, your life force flows. This is not a quaint, spiritual aphorism. It is a fundamental law of consciousness, as real and as unyielding as gravity. Everything in your experience is a direct harvest of what you have planted with your attention. Consider the world you live in. It is a vast, chaotic, and brilliant marketplace designed with one singular purpose: to capture and monetize your attention. Every notification that pings on your phone, every sensational news headline engineered to provoke fear or outrage, every algorithm on social media meticulously crafted to keep you scrolling, is a bid for your creative currency. These forces are not inherently evil. They are simply businesses, and your attention is their profit. But you, unknowingly, have been giving away your kingdom's treasury for free. You have been paying with your life force to consume anxiety, to mainline outrage, to bathe in the endless drama of a world in turmoil. You wake up in the morning, and before your feet even touch the floor, you reach for your phone. You immediately plunge your consciousness into a torrent of emails demanding your energy, news stories announcing the latest crisis, and social media feeds showcasing the carefully curated highlight reels of others, inviting comparison and the familiar sting of lack. Within minutes of waking, you have given away your power. You have surrendered your precious, creative morning energy to the agendas of others, to the chaos of the world. You then move through your day feeling drained, scattered, and reactive, wondering why you have no energy left to build the life you desire. You have no energy because you have already spent it, and you have received nothing of value in return. This creates a significant inner conflict for the modern soul. A part of you feels a civic duty to be informed, a social need to be connected. You fear that if you unplug, you will become ignorant, isolated, or irresponsible. You believe that by constantly monitoring the world's problems, you are somehow exercising a form of control. But let us be clear, watching a storm on the news does not calm the storm. It only brings the storm into your house. Your anxious observation of the world's chaos does not contribute to its solution. It merely adds your own anxiety to the collective field, amplifying the very energy you claim to oppose. The conflict, therefore, is between the illusion of control that comes from constant connection and the true power that comes from conscious disconnection. It is the choice between being a frantic, powerless spectator of a world on fire or becoming a calm, centered creator of your own peaceful reality. To choose the latter is not an act of selfish ignorance. It is the highest form of service. By jealously guarding your attention and cultivating an inner state of peace and abundance, you become a stabilizing force, an oasis of coherence in a desert of chaos. You cannot give the world a peace you do not possess. The core message is to awaken to your role as a creator, not just a consumer. You have been consuming scarcity for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You read about economic downturns, you listen to podcasts about political strife, you talk with friends about what is wrong with the world. In doing so, you have been marinating your consciousness in the frequency of lack, and then you are surprised when your life yields a harvest of anxiety and struggle. The law is perfect. You create more of what you pay attention to. Starting now, you must go on a diet, an information diet. You must stop feeding your mind the junk food of fear and outrage. You must begin to consciously choose the energetic ingredients of your life. This requires you to become a fierce and vigilant guardian at the gate of your mind. You must decide, with unwavering intention, what you will allow in and what you will refuse entry. This is not about denial or burying your head in the sand. It is about understanding that your attention is the light that makes things grow. Imagine your attention is the sun. It is a pure, powerful, life-giving force. It does not judge. It simply shines where you direct it. For years, you have been directing this powerful sun onto a patch of barren rock, a landscape filled with the weeds of worry, the thorns of comparison, and the dry dust of yesterday's news. And under your faithful daily attention, this landscape has flourished. The weeds have grown thick, the thorns have sharpened. You have cultivated a magnificent garden of despair. Now, right next to this patch of rock is a plot of fertile soil planted with the seeds of your deepest desire, seeds of peace, creativity, health, and prosperity. But they have remained dormant because they have been in the shadows, starved of your light. The practice now is to consciously, deliberately turn the sun, to divert the powerful beam of your attention away from the barren rocks and onto the fertile garden. Let this be a practical commitment. For the next week, gift yourself the first hour of your day, the golden hour, before you look at a single screen, before you let the world's demands rush in. That first 60 minutes belongs to your garden. When you wake up, lie in stillness for a moment. Pay attention to your breath. Feel the simple, profound miracle of being alive. Get up and drink a glass of water. Pay attention to the feeling of it hydrating your body. Perhaps you sit in silence for 10 minutes. Perhaps you write in a journal, not about your problems, but about what you are grateful for, or about the reality you are creating, written as if it is already true. Perhaps you go for a gentle walk, paying attention only to the sky, the trees, the feeling of the air on your skin. You are doing nothing, and yet you are doing the most important work of all. You are focusing your sun on the seeds of peace, clarity, and gratitude. You are starting your day by investing your most precious currency into the reality you wish to inhabit. The rest of the world can wait an hour. This is not easy. Your mind, addicted to the stimulation of the outer world, will rebel. It will tell you this is a waste of time. It will tempt you with the urge to just check one thing. This is the withdrawal. This is the addict's craving. Your ability to resist this pull is a direct measure of your commitment to your own freedom. You must be more interested in cultivating your inner world than you are in observing the chaos of the outer world. As you practice this, you will notice a change. You will begin your day feeling centered, calm, and sovereign, rather than reactive and depleted. You will find that you have more energy, more clarity. You will start to notice that the world you encounter during the day begins to reflect the peace you cultivated in the morning. This is the law in action. You have nourished your garden, and now it begins to bear fruit. Guard your attention as you would guard your life, for your attention is the very force that directs your life. Stop wasting your sun on rocks. Turn it to the fertile soil within you, and watch your world bloom. You have learned to stand guard at the gate of your mind, to consciously direct the sun of your attention toward the garden you wish to cultivate. This is a profound and transformative act. But now we must go deeper. We must journey to the source of the sun itself. We must inquire into the nature of the consciousness that directs the attention. We must enter the great silence from which all focused energy originates. We must learn the power of stillness. In the modern world, this is perhaps the most radical act of all. We have become a civilization that is terrified of silence. We are addicted to noise, to input, to distraction. We fill every available moment with podcasts, music, videos, and endless streams of information. And when there is no external noise, we fill the void with the ceaseless chatter of our own minds, replaying past grievances and rehearsing future anxieties. Why are we so afraid of the quiet? Because in the stillness, there is nowhere to hide. When the noise stops, we are left alone with ourselves. And in that space, the feelings we have been running from begin to surface. The grief we never processed, the loneliness we mask with busyness, the quiet yearning of our soul that gets drowned out by our daily hustle. We use noise as a buffer, a shield to protect us from the raw, unfiltered truth of our own inner state. Silence is the great mirror, and we have been taught to fear our own reflection. But this fear is based on a fundamental misunderstanding. We mistake the silence for an empty void, a nothingness. It is not. Stillness is not an absence. It is a presence. It is the womb of creation, the plenum of all potential. It is the silent, fertile ground from which all inspired thoughts, all true solutions, and all creative impulses arise. In the noise, you can only hear the echoes of what has already been said. In the stillness, you can hear what is waiting to be born. This leads to one of the most challenging conflicts for the ambitious, problem-solving mind. Your conditioning screams that when faced with a problem, you must act. You must strive, strategize, and struggle. You must make something happen. The pressure to do something feels immense, responsible, proactive. To simply be still in the face of a crisis feels like surrender, like passivity, like failure. This is the conflict between the wisdom of the ego and the wisdom of the soul. The ego believes its frantic activity is the solution. The soul knows that frantic activity, born from fear, only deepens the problem. It is like flailing in quicksand. Your panicked struggle is what pulls you under. The soul knows that the first and most powerful act in the face of any storm is to become still. It is to pause, to breathe, and to connect with the quiet center within you that is untouched by the outer chaos. From this center, a different kind of action is born, an inspired action. A clear, calm, and devastatingly effective move that solves the problem with an economy of effort you could never have achieved through frantic struggle. This is the core message you must integrate. Stillness is not emptiness, it is power. It is not passivity, it is presence in its most concentrated form. Imagine a hurricane. It is one of the most powerful forces in nature, a vortex of immense energy. Its winds can flatten buildings and toss ships like toys. But where is the source of its power? It is not in the raging winds at its periphery. The power of the hurricane is organized around its center, the eye, a place of uncanny and absolute calm. In the eye of the storm, the sky is clear, the air is still. From this point of profound stillness, the entire storm is commanded. You are a vortex of energy. Your life is a collection of circumstances, relationships, and challenges. When you live at the periphery of your own being, caught up in the winds of reactive thought and emotion, you are tossed about by your circumstances. You are at the mercy of the storm. The practice of meditation, of cultivating inner stillness, is the practice of becoming the eye of your own hurricane. You learn to find that place of calm within you. And from that center of power, you find you are no longer the victim of the storm. You are the stillness that commands it. Let us now demystify the practice that takes you to this center. We will begin with a commitment so small, so unintimidating, that the ego will have no reason to refuse it. 5 minutes. That is all. For 5 minutes a day, you will practice the art of doing nothing. Find a place where you can sit undisturbed. Sit upright, but not rigid. In a chair or on a cushion. Close your eyes and simply begin to notice your breath. Do not try to change it. Just feel the sensation of the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and the sensation of it leaving again. Your breath is your anchor to the present moment. It is your anchor in the storm. Now, within seconds, a thought will arise. This is guaranteed. Your mind will present you with your to-do list, an embarrassing memory from 7 years ago, a worry about tomorrow. Here is the most important instruction. This is not a mistake. You are not failing. The goal of this practice is not to have an empty mind. The goal is to change your relationship with your thoughts. When a thought appears, simply notice it. You can even label it gently in your mind, thinking. And then, without any drama or self-criticism, gently guide your attention back to the sensation of your breath. That is the entire practice. The thought hooks you, you notice you have been hooked, and you gently unhook yourself, returning to your anchor. Each time you do this, you are performing a sacred rep. You are strengthening your muscle of awareness. You are choosing the stillness over the noise. You are reclaiming your power from your compulsive thoughts. Some days, your mind will be like a wild tempest, and you will have to return to your breath every 2 seconds. Other days, you may find moments of beautiful, expansive quiet. The outcome does not matter. The victory is in the returning. The victory is in the gentle, persistent, compassionate act of coming back, again and again, to the quiet center. Your mind is like a lake. For most of your life, the wind of anxious, compulsive thinking has been blowing across its surface, creating constant ripples. When the surface is agitated, it cannot reflect the sky. It can only reflect its own turmoil. If you look into a choppy lake, you do not see the vast, clear expanse of the heavens. You see a distorted, fragmented, chaotic version of your own agitation. The sky, the truth, the divine intelligence has been there all along. You simply could not see it for the turbulence of your own mind. This 5-minute practice is the act of asking the wind to cease just for a moment. As you sit in stillness, the ripples begin to subside. The waters become calm, and for the first time, the surface of the lake can become what it was always meant to be, a perfect mirror, reflecting the silent, infinite, and intelligent sky above. The answers you seek are not in the ripples of your thinking. They are in the stillness that lies beneath. Be the stillness that commands the storm. Be the silent lake that reflects the sky. All the power you will ever need is waiting for you there. From the sacred ground of stillness, a new work can now begin. Having quieted the winds of anxious thought and allowed the lake of your mind to become calm, you have created the perfect medium for a more subtle and powerful magic. The silence is not the end goal, it is the canvas. Now, we learn how to paint upon this canvas with the frequencies of reality itself. We learn to shift from the passive state of watching to the active state of vibrating. We learn to move from the vibration of wanting to the all-powerful vibration of having. This is the secret key that turns the lock on the treasury of the universe. For your entire life, you have been vibrating in the frequency of wanting. The word itself is a confession of lack. To say, "I want," is to make a powerful, energetic declaration that I do not have. It creates a chasm between you and your desire. It is a prayer of separation. When you exist in a state of wanting, your entire being, your thoughts, your emotions, your posture, your biochemistry is tuned to the signature of absence. It is a feeling of incompleteness, of striving, of reaching for something that is perpetually outside of you. And the universe, which is a flawless and impersonal mirror of your own energy, faithfully reflects this state back to you. It hears your song of not having, and it joins you in the chorus, providing you with endless experiences that confirm your belief that your good is always just beyond your grasp. This is not a punishment, it is a law. The law of resonance. That which is like unto itself is drawn. Your state of wanting can only attract more reasons to want. To escape this loop, you must dare to do something that your logical mind will tell you is insane. You must stop wanting. You must cease the prayer of separation and begin the meditation of union. You must cultivate within the temple of your own body and mind the exact vibrational quality of the thing you desire as if it were already your present reality. This is the shift to the frequency of having. This state is not loud or arrogant. It is quiet, calm, and deeply assured. It is the feeling of relief, the gentle sigh of completion. It is the peacefulness of a desire fulfilled. It is a state of being, not a state of seeking. This is the frequency that resonates with abundance. Abundance is not drawn to neediness. It is drawn to itself. It flows toward the spaces that are already tuned to its signature of sufficiency and peace. Here you will face a great inner conflict, a battle between your 5 physical senses and your 6th sense of imagination. Your eyes will look at your bank account and report lack. Your ears will hear the bills that are due. Your body will feel the familiar tension of financial worry. The physical world, which is nothing more than a lagging indicator of your past vibrations, will present you with a mountain of evidence to prove that this idea is a delusion. Your logical mind will act as the prosecutor, using this evidence to ridicule you. How can you feel that you have it when I can clearly see that you don't? This is pretending. This is foolish. Be realistic. This is the trial of the Creator. You must choose which reality you will grant authority. Are you more loyal to the shadows on the wall, the effects of your past consciousness? Or are you more loyal to the creative power within you, the cause of all future effects? The core message, the truth that will guide you through this trial, is this: Do not chase prosperity. Do not even seek it. You must become it. The great error is to believe that wealth will bring you feelings of freedom, peace, and generosity. The truth is the reverse. The feelings of freedom, peace, and generosity are the vibrational causes that attract wealth as their natural effect. You have had the sequence backward. You have been waiting for the outside world to change first, so that you can finally feel good. The universe has been patiently waiting for you to feel good first, so that it can change the outside world to match. You are a sovereign creative power. You do not need a reason to feel abundant. Your feeling is the reason that abundance will appear. Let us now translate this from a grand theory into a tangible, repeatable practice. We will call it feeling it real. First, take the desire you hold more money, a new home, a thriving business, and distill it down to its emotional essence. What is the core feeling that this thing would give you? Do not focus on the object or the amount. Focus on the state of being. Is it a feeling of security, of freedom, of ease, of relief? Choose one dominant, desirable feeling. Let us use freedom as our example. Now, find your quiet space. Enter the stillness you have been cultivating. Let the ripples on the lake subside. In this calm state, your task is to consciously generate the feeling of freedom within your own body. This is a somatic, not just a mental, exercise. How would freedom feel right now in your cells? Perhaps it would feel like a loosening in your shoulders, as if a great weight has been lifted. Allow your shoulders to drop. Breathe in and out as if you have no deadlines, no pressures, all the time in the world. How would freedom feel in your chest? Perhaps like an openness, an expansion. Take a breath that seems to fill you with light and space. How would freedom feel on your face? Perhaps a gentle, subtle smile of deep contentment would appear. Not a wide grin, but a quiet, private knowing. Inhabit this state. For 3 to 5 minutes, your only job is to feel freedom without any external cause. You are not pretending. You are activating a dormant frequency within you. You are tuning your instrument to a new note. Dwell in that feeling. Let it saturate your being. Then, release it and go about your day, trusting that you have successfully broadcast a new signal. Think of yourself as a powerful radio tower. Your emotional state is the frequency you are constantly broadcasting. If your dominant feelings are worry, anxiety, and lack, you are broadcasting on 88.7 AM, the scarcity station. And the only music that can play on that station are songs of struggle, frustration, and not enough. You can pray all you want to hear a different song, but as long as you are broadcasting on 88.7 AM, you will only get what that frequency carries. Across the dial, at 101.1 FM, is the abundance station. It is playing, right now, music of flow, synchronicity, ease, and grace. The station is not withholding its broadcast from you. You are simply not tuned to its frequency. The practice of feeling it real is the act of consciously turning your own inner dial. You are stopping your broadcast on the scarcity frequency and deliberately beginning to transmit on the abundance frequency. Your work is not to make the station play your song. Your work is to tune your receiver to the station where the music you love is already playing. Do this practice daily. Make it a part of your inner hygiene. The more you consciously occupy the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the more natural it will become. You are building a new energetic home for yourself. Eventually, this new feeling state of having, of being, of peace will become your default vibration. It will become the dominant note your radio tower transmits. And when that happens, the law is absolute. The universe will begin to orchestrate circumstances, people, and opportunities that are in perfect resonance with your new song. Things will begin to flow to you, not because you are chasing them, but because you have finally become a vibrational match to them. You have stopped singing the song of wanting and have begun to hum the quiet, confident melody of already having. You have stood in the stillness and learned to broadcast a new signal. From the quiet center of your being, you have tuned your energy to the frequency of having, marinating in the feeling of your wish already fulfilled. You have sent a clear, coherent request into the field of infinite potential. A common and fatal error occurs at this point. Having sent the arrow of your desire perfectly towards its target, you now try to run after it, attempting to control its flight path, to manage the wind, and to tell it exactly how to land. This is the moment where most creations are aborted. This is the moment we must master the sacred art of detachment. The profound wisdom of releasing the how. The desperate need to know how your desire will come to you is a subtle and powerful form of fear. It is the ego, in its terror of the unknown, attempting to reassert control over a process that is far beyond its jurisdiction. It is a vote of no confidence in the universe. In the very act of asking how, you betray a fundamental disbelief in the power you have just invoked. You have shifted, in an instant, from the powerful, magnetic state of having back to the anxious, resistant state of needing to make it happen. You become a micromanager of the infinite. You try to draw a map for a power that already holds the entire globe in its hands. You frantically connect dots. You strategize. You worry. You manipulate. And with every ounce of this anxious, controlling energy, you introduce static into the clear signal you just sent. You are jamming your own frequency. You are tightening your grip on the very thing that needs space to unfold. This creates an intense inner conflict between the part of you that wants to trust and the part of you that needs to control. The ego, your survival mechanism, has been trained to believe that safety lies in certainty. It needs a 5-step plan, a predictable timeline, a guaranteed outcome. It sees the space between planting the seed and its eventual sprouting not as a fertile darkness full of potential, but as a dangerous and empty void. It panics in this space and rushes to fill it with frantic activity. Your soul, your higher self, knows a deeper truth. It knows that the most miraculous and elegant solutions almost always come from pathways the logical mind could never have conceived. It understands that the universe operates with a far more complex and beautiful geometry than your linear thinking can grasp. The conflict is between your desperate need for a map and the universe's invitation to trust the current. You stand at the river's edge. The ego wants to build a bridge, stone by painstaking stone. The soul invites you to simply let go and allow the river to carry you to a destination more glorious than any you could have planned. The core message you must embody is a clear and liberating division of labor. Your role in the creative process is both profoundly powerful and beautifully simple. Your job is to define the what with clarity and to feel the state of its fulfillment with passion. That is it. Your work ends with the feeling. The moment you have successfully generated the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you have done your part. The how, the when, the where, and the through whom are not in your job description. They are the exclusive domain of the Master Weaver, the universal intelligence that orchestrates the dance of all things. When you try to dictate the how, you are limiting the universe to the clumsy and unimaginative pathways that your own small mind can conceive. You are telling the master artist which brand of paint to use. When you detach, when you release your need to control the process, you grant the universe permission to work its magic on your behalf. You allow it to surprise and delight you, to bring your desire to you in ways that are more ingenious, more joyful, and more perfect than you could have ever schemed. Letting go of the how is the ultimate act of faith, and it is the necessary catalyst for miracles. To make this act of release not just an intellectual concept, but a deeply felt reality, we will engage in a simple but powerful ritual. After your practice of feeling it real, take a small piece of paper. Write down your desire in the past tense, as a statement of gratitude for its completion. For example, I am so grateful for the perfect, harmonious way in which my complete financial freedom has unfolded. Read it aloud, feel the truth of it one last time. Then, with a sense of ceremony, you will release it. You might safely burn the paper, watching the smoke carry your intention into the ether. You might dissolve it in water, watching the words merge back into the formless. You might bury it in the earth. The method does not matter. What matters is the symbolism. This is a physical act that communicates to your subconscious mind. It is done. It is handled. It is no longer my concern. And then, and this is the most critical step, you must genuinely let it go from your conscious mind. Turn your attention to something else completely. Go for a walk. Play with your children. Read a book. Immerse yourself in a task. This act of forgetting is not carelessness. It is the signature of true faith. It is the quiet confidence of the person who has placed an order at a fine restaurant. They do not follow the waiter into the kitchen to supervise the chef. They trust the process, and they enjoy the ambiance while they wait. This brings us to our guiding metaphor, the farmer and the seed. Imagine you are a farmer. You have chosen your finest seed, your desire. You have tilled the soil, making it soft and receptive through your practice of stillness. You have carefully planted the seed in the dark, fertile earth of your subconscious through your imaginal act. You have watered it with the pure emotion of the wish fulfilled. Now, what does the wise farmer do? He walks away. He trusts the seed. He trusts the soil. He trusts the sun and the rain. He knows that the creative process is now happening in the dark, in a realm beyond his vision and his control. A foolish farmer, driven by anxiety and disbelief, would return to the spot every hour. He would dig up the seed to see if it had sprouted. He would anxiously poke and prod it, demanding to see progress. In his desperate need to control the how and the when, he would inevitably destroy the delicate, nascent roots. He would kill his own creation with his lack of faith. Your desire is a seed. Your anxious thoughts, your constant checking for results, your need to see evidence is the act of digging up the seed. Detachment is trusting the soil. It is walking away from the field with a peaceful heart, knowing that you have done your part, and that the unseen intelligence of the life force is now doing its part. Plant your seed, water it with feeling, and then, with absolute trust, walk away and let the harvest come to you. The art of detachment is not a call to passivity. To release the oars and trust the current of the river does not mean you are to lie limply in the boat and drift wherever the winds of chance may blow you. It is an act of profound trust, but this trust must be met with integrity. While you trust the universe to handle the how, you must simultaneously make yourself a vessel worthy of the miracle. You must build a container strong enough to hold the abundance you have called forth. This is where trust meets action. Not the frantic, needy action of the ego, but the calm, consistent, and powerful action of discipline. We must now step into the forge. The word discipline has been poisoned in our culture. We associate it with punishment, with harshness, with the denial of joy and spontaneity. It conjures images of a stern taskmaster forcing us to do things we hate. This is a complete and utter misinterpretation of one of the most beautiful and empowering concepts available to us. The word discipline comes from the root disciple, which means a student. To be disciplined is simply to be a dedicated student of the person you intend to become. It is the highest act of self-love. It is the conscious and deliberate alignment of your daily actions with your highest vision for yourself. While detachment is your faith in the universe, discipline is the evidence that the universe can have faith in you. Motivation is a fleeting and fickle friend. It is the spark, but it is not the enduring flame. It will visit you on bright, sunny days when you are well-rested and inspired, but it will abandon you on the gray, difficult days when you need it most. If you rely on motivation to build your new life, you will build nothing but a shack of broken promises. Discipline, however, is the bedrock. Discipline is the commitment you made to yourself yesterday showing up for you today. It is the quiet, unglamorous, and profoundly powerful choice to honor your word to yourself, especially when you do not feel like it. It is the force that gets you to the gym when you are tired, that makes you choose the healthy meal when you crave the junk, that gets you to sit in silence for 5 minutes when your mind is screaming for distraction. Feelings come and go like weather. Discipline is the deep structure of the earth beneath. Herein lies the daily battle that determines the trajectory of your life. It is the conflict between the comfort of your old self and the requirements of your new self. Your envisioned self, the prosperous, peaceful, and powerful being you are becoming, has a certain character. It has certain habits. It operates from a place of self-respect. Your old self, the product of the scarcity program, also has habits. It seeks the path of least resistance. It craves instant gratification. It finds comfort in distraction and procrastination. Every single day, you are presented with a series of small, seemingly insignificant choices. Do you reach for your phone first thing, or do you sit in the stillness? Do you consume junk information, or do you feed your mind with something that uplifts you? Do you honor the small promise you made to yourself? Or do you say, "I'll do it tomorrow"? Each of these choices is a vote. You are either casting a vote for the person you have been, or casting a vote for the person you are becoming. There is no neutral ground. Your life today is simply the sum total of all the small votes you have cast up until this moment. The profound and liberating truth is that you can start casting different votes right now. The core message is this: discipline is the bridge that connects the world of your imagination to the world of your physical reality. It is the active principle of creation. You have claimed your worthiness. You have sent out the signal of your desire. You have released the outcome. Now you must act in a way that is congruent with that new reality. If you have claimed a reality of health, but your actions consist of neglect, you are sending a contradictory signal. If you have claimed a reality of financial abundance, but your actions are chaotic and irresponsible, you are creating dissonance. Discipline closes this gap between vision and action. It harmonizes your inner and outer worlds. It is the process of building the physical mold into which your desired reality can pour. Without the mold of discipline, the liquid energy of abundance will have no form. It will simply dissipate. Let us forge this bridge with a simple, powerful, and unbreakable commitment. You will choose one single action, a non-negotiable, that you will perform every single day. The key is to make it small enough that it is almost impossible to say no to, yet meaningful enough that it reinforces the identity of your new self. Perhaps it is 5 minutes of meditation. Perhaps it is writing down 3 things you are grateful for. Perhaps it is a 10-minute walk without your phone. Perhaps it is reading 2 pages of an inspiring book. The action itself is less important than the consistency with which you perform it. This action is non-negotiable. It is not dependent on your mood. It is not dependent on the weather. It is not dependent on whether you have time. You make the time. It is an appointment with your highest self, and you do not disrespect your highest self by standing it up. By performing this one simple, non-negotiable act each day, you are doing far more than just meditating or walking. You are sending a thunderous message to your own subconscious mind. You are telling it, "I am a person who honors my commitments. I am a person who values my word. I am a person of integrity and self-respect." This builds a foundation of subconscious trust that is more valuable than any amount of money. Each time you keep this promise, you deposit a coin into the bank of your self-worth. You begin to respect yourself. And because the outer world is a mirror of the inner, the world will begin to reflect that respect back to you in countless ways. We are in the forge. Imagine that your current self is a piece of raw, unformed iron. Your vision, the person you are becoming, is a magnificent, sharp, and resilient sword. Discipline is the forge itself. It is the fire, and it is the hammer. Each day that you perform your non-negotiable action, You are willingly placing yourself in the fire. You are heating the metal of your being, making it malleable. And the action itself is the strike of the hammer. Clang. You sat in silence when you wanted to be distracted. Clang. You chose gratitude when you felt like complaining. Clang. You honored your word when it would have been easier to be lazy. Each blow is not a punishment. It is a refinement. It is knocking off the impurities of your old conditioning. It is shaping the raw metal of your potential. It is a noisy, sweaty, and often uncomfortable process. But it is the only way to transform raw iron into a blade of tempered steel. You cannot wish yourself into a sword. You must be forged. So do not fear the heat. Do not resent the hammer. They are your allies. They are the instruments of your own liberation, shaping you into the strong, beautiful, and purposeful being you were always meant to be. As you stand within the forge of discipline, faithfully striking the hammer against the raw metal of your being, there is an element you can introduce that will dramatically increase the heat of the fire and the effectiveness of every blow. There is a catalyst that can accelerate the entire process of your becoming, an energy so powerful that it can instantly and profoundly alter your magnetic field. This catalyst is not found in more effort or more struggle. It is found in the simple, gentle, and revolutionary act of gratitude. It is the conscious acknowledgement of the abundance that is already and always present. Your mind, by its very design, is a masterful problem-finding machine. For millennia, its survival depended on its ability to scan the environment for threats, for dangers, for what was missing. This is the root of the negativity bias, the default setting of the scarcity program. Left to its own devices, your mind will obsess over the one bill you cannot pay, ignoring the 99 blessings you already possess. It will fixate on the one critical comment, disregarding the chorus of praise. It is not malicious. It is simply running an ancient and outdated survival program. Gratitude is the conscious, willed interruption of this program. It is a rebellion against the tyranny of what is wrong. It is the act of deliberately withdrawing your precious attention from the hole in the donut and placing it, with intention, on the deliciousness of the donut itself. Each moment you spend in a state of genuine gratitude, you are, by definition, vibrating in the frequency of having. You are not asking for anything. You are not striving for anything. You are acknowledging the good that is already yours. This is the most direct and effortless way to embody the feeling of abundance. It bypasses the need to imagine a future state because it finds fulfillment in the present one. It is the key that unlocks the riches of the now. And since the universe is a mirror that reflects your dominant state of being, a state of gratitude is the most powerfully magnetic force you can possibly generate. It is a declaration of sufficiency. It is a song of fullness. And the universe, hearing this beautiful song, rushes to give you more things to be grateful for. Of course, the skeptical mind, the ghost in the machine, will immediately object. This is naive, it will say. How can being grateful for this cup of coffee possibly help me with the mountain of debt I am facing? How can appreciating the sunset solve my real-world problems? This is the conflict between the logic of the material world and the law of the energetic world. On the material level, the skepticism is correct. There is no direct physical line between the coffee and the debt. But you are not a purely physical being, and you do not live in a purely physical universe. You are a vibrational being living in a vibrational universe. Your real-world problems are the physical manifestation of a past energetic state of lack. To solve them permanently, you must change the underlying energetic cause. The feeling of sincere gratitude, even for something as small as a cup of coffee, sends a powerful energetic signal, the signal of contentment, of pleasure, of sufficiency. This signal is a direct antidote to the frequency of lack. It begins to neutralize the old vibration and replace it with a new one. You are not trying to solve your problems from the level of the problems. You are rising above them and dissolving them from the level of the cause. The core message, the paradigm shift that will change everything, is this: gratitude is not a response to a gift. Gratitude is the gift giver. It is not the polite thank you say after you have received what you want. It is the state of being that summons what you want into your experience. You have been treating God, the universe, life itself, as a vending machine. You have been putting in your complaints and your pleadings, hoping for a blessing to drop into the tray. The universe operates on a different principle. It operates on the principle of affirmation. It affirms what you affirm. When you live in a state of complaint, you are affirming lack, and the universe says, yes, let me show you more things to complain about. When you live in a state of gratitude, you are affirming abundance, and the universe says, yes, let me show you more things to be grateful for. Gratitude is the ultimate act of faith. It is looking at a life that may seem imperfect on the surface and declaring, thank you, I see the good, I see the blessings. I trust that all is well and is unfolding for my highest good. This unwavering acknowledgement of the good that is already present is what commands the presence of more good. Let us bring this divine energy into a simple, tangible daily practice. Find a simple jar or a box. This will be your gratitude jar. Each day, perhaps in the evening before you sleep, take a small slip of paper. Your task is to identify one specific thing from your day for which you are genuinely grateful. Be specific. Do not just write "my family." Write, "I am so grateful for the way my partner smiled at me this morning," or "I am grateful for the deep, healing laughter I shared with my child today." Do not just write "my home." Write, "I am grateful for the feeling of safety and warmth I felt as I unlocked my front door this evening." Specificity gives the feeling a texture, a reality. Write it down. Take a moment to re-experience the feeling of gratitude, and then fold the paper and place it in the jar. This simple ritual accomplishes several things. It trains your mind throughout the day to actively hunt for the good, because you know you will have to report back in the evening. It concludes your day on a frequency of sufficiency, which influences the creative state of your subconscious mind as you sleep. And most beautifully, over time, the jar fills up. It becomes a physical testament to your blessings. It is a visible record of grace. Then, on a day when you are feeling low, when the old scarcity program is running strong, when you feel that nothing is going right, you can perform another kind of magic. You can go to your jar, unscrew the lid, and pull out a handful of these notes. As you read them, you are re-immersing yourself in moments of grace. You are reactivating those past states of gratitude. You are reaching into your own personal well of abundance and drinking deeply. It is a powerful and immediate way to shift your state and to remember the truth. Think of your awareness as the lens of a powerful camera. The world around you is an infinite landscape, filled with both breathtaking beauty and jarring ugliness. The scarcity mindset, your default program, has the lens permanently focused on a crack in the pavement, a stain on the wall, a weed growing in the corner. It takes endless, detailed photographs of what is wrong, and your life's album is filled with these images of lack. The practice of gratitude is the conscious, deliberate act of refocusing the camera. It is you, the photographer, choosing to ignore the crack in the pavement and instead pointing your lens toward the single, resilient flower growing through it. It is choosing to zoom in on the intricate pattern of sunlight on the floor, on the taste of clean water, on the miracle of your own heartbeat. The cracks and the weeds do not cease to exist, but you are no longer making them the subject of your art. You are no longer magnifying them. You are choosing to capture and develop the images of beauty, of grace, of abundance. What you focus on, you create. Point your lens at the good, and your entire world will develop into a masterpiece. You have stepped into the forge of discipline, building the container of your new self. You have magnetized your reality with the unstoppable energy of gratitude. A foundation of profound power is now being laid. With this foundation in place, the very nature of your action in the world must and will begin to transform. You are ready to graduate from the school of struggle and enter the river of flow. You are ready to learn the crucial difference between the frantic energy of hustle and the potent power of inspired action. Our society has built a temple to the god of busyness. We worship at the altar of the hustle. We have been taught to believe that our worth is measured by our exhaustion, that success is a direct result of the hours we suffer, and that to be still is to be lazy. This hustle culture is the scarcity program's application in the realm of work. It is born from a deep-seated fear. The fear that if we stop moving, we will be forgotten. The fear that if we are not constantly pushing, striving, and straining, we will be overtaken. The fear that we must earn our abundance through a painful sacrifice of our own life force. This way of operating is like trying to push a boulder uphill. You may move it through sheer, brute force, but you will be utterly depleted in the process, with no energy left to enjoy the view from the top. There is another way, a more elegant, more powerful, and infinitely more sustainable way. It is the way of inspired action. Inspired action does not arise from fear, it arises from stillness. It is not born of a frantic need to control, it is born of a deep and trusting alignment with the flow of life itself. Hustle feels like pushing. Inspired action feels like being pulled. Hustle is draining. It depletes your reserves. Inspired action is energizing. It often leaves you with more vitality than when you began. Hustle is loud, anxious, and chaotic. Inspired action is quiet, confident, and precise. It is the action you take when your inner guidance system, your intuition, gives you a clear and unmistakable nudge. It feels less like a decision and more like a recognition of what must be done. This presents a deep conflict for the modern achiever, who has been conditioned to feel guilty for rest and suspicious of ease. The external world and your own inner critic will scream that you must always be on, always be producing, always have a full calendar. To take an afternoon to simply be, to wait for clarity instead of forcing an action, can feel like a profound act of rebellion. You must battle the belief that your value is tied to your visible output. You must unlearn the factory-era equation that time equals money, and learn the new energy equation that alignment equals abundance. The universe does not reward you for the quantity of your struggle. It rewards you for the quality of your alignment. One single hour of inspired, flow-state action can be more productive than 100 hours of frantic, fear-driven hustle. The core message is to shift your entire approach to work and creation. Do not just work hard, work in sync. Life has a rhythm. The universe breathes. There is a time for outward action, an exhalation of energy, and there is a time for inward receptivity, an inhalation of energy. To try and force action during a period of inhalation is to swim against the tide. It is exhausting and fruitless. To rest and receive during a period of outward action is to miss the wave. The art is to learn to sense this rhythm within yourself, to trust the moments when your energy says go, and to equally trust the moments when your energy says wait. Inspired action is not about doing less. It is about the cessation of doing anything that is out of alignment. It is about reserving your precious energy for the moments of divine timing. When the gates of flow swing open and your efforts are multiplied 1,000-fold by the support of the universe. To cultivate this new way of operating, we will integrate a simple practice into the beginning of your workday. After you have completed your meditation and your gratitude practice, while you are still in that state of quiet connection, ask your inner self a simple question. You might ask, what is the one action I can take today that would create the most positive expansion? Or, what is my most aligned next step? Or even more simply, show me. Do not try to answer the question with your logical mind. Your logical mind will only give you your pre-existing to-do list. Your task is not to think, but to listen. Be still and be open. The answer may not come in words. It may come as a sudden, clear urge to contact a person you have not thought of in years. It may come as a vivid image of a project, not as a struggle, but as a joyful, completed reality. It may come as a feeling of excitement and energy that suddenly surrounds one particular task on your list, while all the others feel flat and heavy. This is your intuitive guidance system speaking to you. This is the whisper of inspired action. Your task, which requires immense courage and trust, is to honor this nudge, even if it defies logic. Even if it is not the most urgent thing on your list according to external pressures, that one inspired act, a phone call, the email, the first step on the energized projectus, often the master key that unlocks doors. You have been trying to break down with the battering ram of your hustle. Think of it this way. The person operating from hustle culture is in a rowboat in the middle of a vast ocean. They are rowing with all their might. Their muscles are burning, they are sweating. Their focus is narrowed to the strain of their own effort. They are making progress, but it is slow, grueling, and entirely dependent on their own finite strength. If they face a strong headwind or a contrary current, they can row for hours and find themselves pushed backward. The person who operates from inspired action is in the same ocean, but they are in a sailboat. They understand that their job is not to provide the power. The power already exists, a vast and unseen force in the form of the wind. Their job is to become a student of the wind. They learn to feel its direction. Their primary task is not to row, but to raise the sail toe, make themselves open and receptive through their practices of stillness and gratitude. When the wind of inspiration blows, they are ready. They then use the rudder of their focused intention to guide the boat, working in partnership with this immense, invisible power. The journey is not a struggle against the ocean, but a dance with it. It is fast, it is graceful, it is exhilarating, and it can carry them far beyond the horizon of what they could ever achieve through muscle alone. Stop rowing against the current. Be still. Feel the direction of the wind. And then, with courage and with trust, raise your sail. As you begin to trade the frantic rowing of the hustle for the graceful dance of the sailboat, something remarkable begins to happen. As you move in sync with the current of inspired action, you create pockets of inner silence. And in these new, quiet spaces, you begin to hear a language you were once too busy to notice. You begin to perceive a subtle, intelligent, and often playful conversation that the universe is constantly having with you. The world, which once seemed random and chaotic, starts to reveal a hidden layer of meaning, a secret architecture of resonance. This is the realm of synchronicity. These are the waypoints that appear on your path, confirming that you are no longer lost, but are navigating with precision toward the home of your new reality. Synchronicity is a term for a meaningful coincidence, a moment when the inner world of your thoughts and feelings aligns with the outer world of events in a way that defies probability and pierces you with a sense of significance. It is thinking of an old friend, only to have them call you 2 minutes later. It is asking the universe for a sign of confirmation, and then seeing the same unusual symbol or number sequence, 11, 11, 444, 3 times in a single hour. It is having a specific problem, and then having a book fall off a shelf in a bookstore, opened to the very page that contains your answer. These are not random accidents, they are echoes. They are the universe calling back to you, confirming that it has received the signal you have been broadcasting from the quiet of your being. They are physical evidence that your inner work is registering in the outer world, that the field of reality is beginning to reorganize itself around your new vibration. Your rational mind, the faithful guardian of your old, mechanistic worldview, will put up a fierce resistance to this. It will rush to explain these events away. It will label them as confirmation bias, insisting that you are merely seeing what you want to see. It will dismiss them as pure, meaningless coincidence, a statistical inevitability in a complex world. It will do everything in its power to file these moments of magic under the category of random, because to admit otherwise is to shatter its entire understanding of reality. To acknowledge synchronicity is to admit that consciousness is not a passive observer, but an active participant in the creation of reality. It is to accept that there is an intelligent, responsive force that is in constant communication with you. This creates an inner conflict between the part of you that needs to feel sane and in control, and the deeper part of you that yearns to feel connected and guided. The ego dismisses the magic to maintain its illusion of a predictable, controllable world. The soul embraces the magic because it recognizes it as its native language. You are at a crossroads. You can choose to listen to the flat, cynical voice of the ego and live in a world devoid of wonder, a world of cold, hard, random facts. Or you can choose to trust the thrilling, resonant hum of your intuition and begin to live in an enchanted world, a world where you are in a perpetual loving dialogue with the mystery of life itself. The core message is an invitation to become fluent in this new language. The universe is not silent. You have simply been tuned to the wrong station, the station of noise and hustle. Now that you are tuning into the frequency of stillness and flow, you can begin to decode its messages. Understand that these signs are not commands. The universe will not shout orders at you. It communicates in whispers, in nudges, in symbols, in rhymes. A synchronicity is a cosmic wink. It is a nod of encouragement from the unseen. It is the universe's way of saying, yes, keep going. You are on the right track. I have received your request, and the how is being beautifully orchestrated. Trust the process. These moments are designed to bolster your faith during the period of gestation, the time between planting the seed and seeing the full harvest. They are gifts of reassurance, meant to keep you aligned with the vibration of trust and out of the frequency of doubt. To become a masterful decoder of this divine language, you must first show the universe that you are listening. You will begin to keep a synchronicity journal. This is your logbook for the magical journey you are on. Get a dedicated notebook. When a meaningful coincidence occurs, no matter how small, write it down. Record the event itself in as much detail as possible. But then, and this is the most crucial part, write down what you were thinking or feeling in the moment, just before it happened. Were you pondering a specific question? Were you feeling a sense of doubt? Were you in a state of joy? This context is what gives the synchronicity its specific meaning for you. Finally, record your emotional response to the event. Did it make you gasp? Did you laugh? Did you feel a wave of peace or excitement? This simple act of recording does two things. First, it trains your own perception. What you focus on expands. By consciously looking for and acknowledging synchronicities, you will begin to notice them everywhere. You will see that they have been happening all along, but you were simply too distracted to perceive them. Second, the act of writing them down is a powerful signal of reverence to the universe. It is you saying, I am paying attention, I value this communication, thank you, please continue. And you will find, almost without fail, that as you honor these messages, their frequency and clarity will increase. Over time, as you read back through your journal, you will see a breathtaking tapestry of guidance emerge. You will see how your questions were answered, how your doubts were soothed, how your path was illuminated, one gentle, synchronous step at a time. Imagine you are driving at night on a long, unfamiliar highway towards a city you have never visited. This is your journey toward your desired reality. At first, it is pitch black. You feel lost and uncertain. This is your life before you begin this inner work. Then, you learn to turn on your headlights, your conscious attention and intention. You can see the road immediately in front of you, but the destination is still out of sight. Now, as you align your frequency, you begin to see road signs appearing out of the darkness, illuminated for a moment by your headlights. A repeating number sequence is like a sign that reads, "You are on Highway 111. It confirms you are on the right route. An unexpected check in the mail or a helpful person appearing out of nowhere is like a sign that reads, "Rest stop 2 miles, offering you fuel and support." A book falling off a shelf or a conversation you overhear is like a sign pointing out a beautiful scenic overlook you might have missed. These signs do not drive the car for you. You must still hold the wheel, but they fill you with an immense confidence and a joyful sense of anticipation. They prove you are not lost, they prove you are on the right track, and they assure you that your beautiful destination is getting closer with every mile. Keep your eyes open. The road ahead is filled with signs meant only for you. You are learning the language of the universe. You have begun to notice the synchronicities, the cosmic winks, the meaningful coincidences that appear as waypoints on your path, confirming your alignment. This dialogue with the world out there is beautiful and reassuring. But now, we must turn our attention to an even more intimate, more accurate, and more immediate form of communication. The universe does not only speak to you in external signs and symbols. Its most profound and trustworthy guidance system is not in the sky or in the numbers on a clock. It is within you. It is the very vessel you inhabit. It is your body. For most of your life, you have been taught to live in your head. Our culture has enthroned the rational mind as the absolute monarch, and it has demoted the body to a mere servant, a beast of burden whose job is to carry the head from one meeting to another. We learn to ignore its signals, to numb its aches with pills, to override its fatigue with caffeine, and to suppress its desires with shame. We have been thoroughly conditioned to believe that wisdom resides in logic, in data, in pro and con lists, and that the body's feelings are primitive, unreliable, and irrelevant distractions. This is perhaps the greatest lie we have ever been told about ourselves, for it has severed us from our most powerful and honest source of intelligence. Your body possesses a profound and ancient wisdom. It is often called somatic intelligence, from the Greek word soma, meaning the living body. Your body is a highly sensitive, energetic instrument. It does not think in words, it does not analyze, and most importantly, it cannot lie. Your conscious mind can be fooled. It can rationalize, justify, and deceive itself endlessly. But your body's response is always pure, instantaneous, and true. It is a living, breathing resonance chamber, and it reacts instantly to the energetic frequency of every thought, person, place, or potential choice you encounter. The tightness in your chest when you are around a certain person, the knot in your stomach when you consider a particular business deal, the feeling of expansive lightness when you contemplate a creative idea. These are not random biological events. They are sophisticated data points. They are your somatic intelligence giving you a clear and precise reading on the energetic alignment of that situation with your own true self. This creates a significant inner conflict for the modern person, who has been trained to outsource their truth. When faced with a decision, your habit is to go outside of yourself. You make spreadsheets, you ask for the opinions of 10 different friends, you read reviews, you search for expert advice. You are looking for external validation, for a logical consensus that will make you feel safe. Now, you are being asked to trust a non-verbal, non-logical sensation in your gut over the well-reasoned advice of the entire world. The habit of overanalyzing is a fortress the ego has built to protect itself from the perceived risk of the unknown. Learning to trust your body is the act of willingly walking out of that fortress, unarmed, into the landscape of intuitive knowing. It feels vulnerable at first. It feels risky, but it is the only path to true sovereign decision-making. The core message is a call to come home to yourself, to re-inhabit your body with reverence, and to relearn its simple, powerful language. Your body is your compass. It is your infallible guide through the complexities of life. While the compass of your mind can be easily distorted by fear, ego, and the opinions of others, the compass of your body responds to only one thing: energetic truth. And its language is elegantly simple. It has only two primary directions: expansion and contraction. Expansion is your body's yes. Contraction is your body's no. Expansion feels like an opening. It is a sense of lightness, of flow, of excitement, of warmth. It is a deep breath that you do not have to force. It is a subtle relaxation in your shoulders and jaw. It is a feeling of more space being created inside you. It feels like leaning forward toward life. Contraction feels like a tightening. It is a sense of heaviness, of dread, of resistance. It is a knot in your stomach, a clenching in your throat, a shallowness in your breath. It is a feeling of shrinking, of pulling back, of wanting to protect yourself. These are not emotions you are thinking about. These are physical sensations you are feeling. Learning to discern between these two fundamental states is the most important navigational skill you can ever develop. Let us turn this into a practice. The next time you face a decision, it could be as small as what to eat for lunch, or as large as whether to accept a job offer. Do not immediately rush to your head for an analysis. Instead, give yourself 3 minutes to consult your compass. Find a quiet space. Sit down, close your eyes, and take several deep, centering breaths. Let the mental chatter begin to settle. First, bring option A into your mind. Do not just think about the word. Try to feel yourself living in the reality of that choice. Imagine you have already said yes. Now, bring your awareness into your body. Start with your throat. Is it open or tight? Move to your chest. Does it feel expansive or constricted? Scan your solar plexus and your stomach. Is there a sense of ease and warmth, or a feeling of knots and dread? Just notice. Do not judge. Simply gather the data. Then, consciously release that image. Take a breath and return to a neutral state. Now, bring option B into your mind. Inhabit the reality of this second choice. And again, perform the same scan. Throat, chest, stomach. What are the physical sensations now? Compare the two readings. One option will have invariably created more expansion, more lightness, more of a yes feeling in your body. The other will have created more contraction, more of a no feeling. Your radical act of self-trust is to honor the guidance of your compass. You are to choose the path of expansion, even if it makes no logical sense. The body's wisdom operates from a much higher vantage point than the rational mind. It knows the path of your soul's unfolding. Its guidance will always lead you toward your greatest growth and your most authentic expression of self. Your body is like the needle of a compass. Its natural state is to point toward your own true north, the direction of your highest good, your soul's purpose. However, the magnetic field of your everyday life is full of interference. Your anxious thoughts, your conditioned fears, the expectations of your family, the pressures of societal, of these things are like powerful, conflicting magnets that cause the needle of your compass to tremble and spin wildly. It is why you so often feel confused and conflicted. The practice of stillness, of breathing, of consciously checking in with yourself is the act of quieting all that external magnetic noise. It is allowing the needle to settle. Your job is not to force the needle to point where you think it should go. Your job is to create enough inner silence for the needle to reveal where it is already pointing. Trust it. It knows the way home. You have begun to trust the wisdom of your body, to use its subtle language of expansion and contraction as your internal compass. This is a profound shift in power, a return to an ancient and honest way of knowing. But even the most finely calibrated compass can be rendered useless in the presence of a powerful, distorting magnetic field. In our inner world, the most disruptive field of all is the one generated by the unresolved burdens of the past. To get a clear and true reading from your compass, you must first demagnetize yourself from the heavy pull of unforgiveness. You must dissolve the energetic debt of your own history. Think of your life force as a finite and precious resource. At this very moment, a significant portion of your energy is not available to you in the present. It is trapped in the past. It is tied up in replaying old conversations, nursing old wounds, and simmering in resentments. Every person you have not forgiven, including yourself, holds a piece of your power hostage. Every regret you cling to is an anchor dragging behind you, making it impossible to sail freely into the future you desire. These unresolved emotional charges are energetic debts. When you feel someone has wronged you, you place them in your debt. They owe you an apology, a restitution. When you feel you have failed yourself, you place yourself in a debt of guilt and shame. Holding on to this intricate web of debt is like trying to run a powerful new creative program on a computer whose memory is almost entirely consumed by old, corrupted files from years ago. The system is slow, it freezes, it crashes. You cannot attune to the frequency of prosperity, which is light, fluid, and present, while you are energetically chained to the dense, heavy frequency of past grievances. This is where you will encounter one of the ego's most powerful and stubborn points of resistance. The idea of forgiveness, especially for deep hurts, can feel like a profound injustice. The ego finds a powerful, if painful, sense of identity in being the wronged party. It builds a fortress of righteousness around the story of its wound. They don't deserve my forgiveness, it will argue. What they did was wrong. Forgiving them lets them off the hook. It invalidates my pain. And if the forgiveness is for yourself, the argument is just as fierce. I don't deserve to be forgiven. I made a terrible mistake. I must continue to punish myself to prove that I know it was wrong. This is the great conflict, the choice between being right and being free. Your ego would rather be right, even if it means living in the perpetual prison of the past. Your soul does not care about being right. It only cares about peace. It only cares about liberation. And it knows that the prison bars are not being held in place by the other person. They are being held in place by your own refusal to let go. The core message, the truth that will set you free, is a radical redefinition of this act. Forgiveness has almost nothing to do with the other person. It does not condone their behavior. It does not excuse the harm that was done. It does not require you to reconcile with them, or even to speak to them ever again. Forgiveness is a unilateral, sovereign act of self-preservation. It is the act of you, by yourself, for yourself, deciding to cut the energetic cord that binds you to a person or event that is causing you pain. Imagine an invisible, dark cord of energy connecting your solar plexus to that past trauma. As long as that cord exists, the trauma has the power to drain your energy in the present moment. Forgiveness is the act of taking a sacred, shimmering pair of scissors and decisively cutting that cord. The other person may not even know it has happened. It does not matter. You will know. You will feel the immediate return of your own life force. You are no longer allowing a past event to dictate your present energy. You are taking your power back. To perform this sacred act of liberation, we can use a simple, ancient, and profoundly effective practice from Hawaii called Ho'oponopono. It consists of 4 simple phrases. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. While it can be used for others, its greatest power lies in using it as a tool for your own inner healing. Bring to mind a person or a situation that you are ready to release. It could be someone who betrayed you, or it could be yourself for a past failure. Feel the familiar knot of pain or resentment that arises. Do not resist it. Just allow it to be there for a moment. Now, speaking either aloud or silently in your heart, you will apply these 4 phrases, not as a forgiveness of their action, but as a healing of your wound. You begin with, I'm sorry. This is not an admission of fault for what happened. This is you speaking to your own soul, to the divine intelligence of the universe. You are saying, I'm sorry for carrying this poison inside my being for so long. I'm sorry for allowing this pain to define a part of me. It is an acknowledgement of your own participation in perpetuating the suffering within yourself. Then, please forgive me. Again, this is a prayer from you, to you, and for you. Please forgive me for holding on to this grievance instead of choosing peace. Please grant me the grace to release this burden from my heart. You are asking for the inner grace to let go. Next, thank you. This can be the most challenging but also the most transformative phrase. You are finding a reason to be grateful, not for the hurtful act itself, but for the lesson it contained, for the strength it forced you to develop, for the compassion it may have taught you. Most powerfully, you are saying, thank you for this opportunity to heal and to set myself free. And finally, I love you. This is the ultimate healing balm. You direct this love at the wounded part of yourself. You flood the memory, the pain, the resentment with the unconditional, healing frequency of love. You say to your own heart, I love you enough to no longer carry this. You say it to the universe, affirming your connection to a loving source that is more powerful than any grievance. I love you. It is the mantra that dissolves all energetic knots. Repeat these 4 phrases as a cycle, over and over, while holding the memory in your awareness. You may feel waves of sadness, anger, or grief. Let them come. They are the poison leaving your system. There is a famous saying, to hold a grievance is to drink a cup of poison every day and expect the other person to die. This is the perfect metaphor for unforgiveness. The resentment, the bitterness, the endless replaying of the story is a poison you willingly administer to yourself, moment by moment. It does not harm the other person. It only corrodes your own soul. It only sickens your own body. It only pollutes your own energetic field. Forgiveness is the simple, sane, and courageous act of putting the cup of poison down. It is choosing to no longer poison your own present moment in the name of a painful past. It is the decision to drink clean, life-giving water instead. Put the poison down, cut the cord, heal your past, and in doing so, you will finally unlock the full, vibrant, and prosperous potential of your present. By courageously undertaking the act of forgiveness, you have performed a profound energetic cleansing. You have cut the heavy cords to the past, reclaimed the power that was held hostage by old grievances, and created a new, silent, and sacred space within you. The old, heavy furniture of resentment and regret has been removed. The room is now open, clean, and full of light. The great temptation is to immediately fill this new space with more noise, more people, more distractions. But the invitation of the soul is to first learn to simply inhabit this new inner freedom. It is an invitation into the wealth of solitude. In our hyper-connected, relentlessly noisy world, we have been conditioned to confuse 2 profoundly different states: loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is a state of lack. It is the painful feeling that something is missing, that you are incomplete without the presence and validation of another. Loneliness is a vibration of neediness, a poverty of the spirit. It is the experience of being alone by default, and it feels like an exile. Solitude, on the other hand, is a state of fullness. It is the conscious, deliberate, and joyful choice to be with yourself. It is not an escape from others, but a deep dive into the essence of your own being. Solitude is a vibration of sufficiency, a richness of the spirit. It is the experience of being alone by sacred appointment, and it feels like a homecoming. We have developed a deep societal fear of this homecoming. The moment a pocket of silence appears in our day, we rush to fill it. We reach for our phones in the elevator, at a red light, in a waiting room. We feel a deep, gnawing discomfort at the prospect of being left alone with nothing but our own thoughts. This discomfort arises from 2 places. First, it is the addict's craving for stimulation. Our brains have become so accustomed to the constant dopamine hits of new information and social interaction that the quiet feels like a form of withdrawal. Second, and more profoundly, it is the fear of what we might find if we are truly alone with ourselves. In the silence, the carefully constructed persona we present to the world begins to crumble, and we are left face to face with our own unvarnished truther, authentic feelings, our deepest questions, our unfulfilled longings. It is easier to live in the noisy marketplace of the world than to sit quietly in the throne room of our own heart. But it is in that throne room where all true power resides. This is the core message you must embrace. Solitude is not a void to be feared, but a kingdom to be claimed. In the silence of chosen aloneness, you stop being a beggar for the world's attention and approval. You cease looking outside of yourself for answers, for validation, for a sense of completion. Instead, you turn inward, and you begin to discover the astonishing richness of your own inner landscape. It is in solitude that the voice of your intuition, which is so often drowned out by the shouting of the world, becomes clear and distinct. It is in solitude that the creative ideas that have been circling in your energetic field can finally land and take root. It is in solitude that you energetically recharge, disentangling your frequency from the chaotic frequencies of others and recalibrating to your own true note. All the great mystics, artists, inventors, and visionaries of history understood this. They understood that to receive a transmission from the divine, from the muse, from the heart of genius, one must first create a space of quiet receptivity. True prosperity, the kind that is unshakable and deeply fulfilling, is always born from this inner fullness. You cannot build a wealthy outer life from an impoverished inner one. Solitude is where you go to cultivate your inner riches. To begin this cultivation, you will start by treating yourself as someone whose company is worth seeking. You will schedule a weekly, non-negotiable date with yourself. This is not idle time, it is a sacred appointment with your own soul. Place it in your calendar as you would a meeting with the most important person in your life, because that is exactly what it is. The nature of this date can vary. It could be a long walk in a park or a forest, deliberately leaving your headphones and your phone behind. Your only task is to be present with the trees, the air, and your own thoughts. It could be a visit to an art museum, allowing yourself to wander and commune with the art without the need to discuss or explain your experience to anyone. It could be as simple as brewing a beautiful cup of tea and sitting by a window for 30 minutes, watching the world go by without any agenda other than to just be. During this time, the goal is to shift from merely tolerating your own company to actively enjoying it. Be curious about yourself. Listen to your own thoughts as if they were the words of a fascinating and beloved friend. What are you noticing? What are you feeling? What ideas are emerging from the quiet? Do not judge any of it. Simply allow it to be. At first, this practice might feel awkward. Your mind may be restless. You may feel bored or anxious. This is normal. It is the static of the old conditioning. Stay with it. By consistently showing up for these appointments, you are sending a powerful message to yourself. I am worthy of my own time. I am interested in my own inner world. My company is a gift. This practice builds a profound sense of self-reliance and inner contentment, which is the very foundation of a prosperous life. When you are no longer desperate for external company to feel whole, you become a magnetic presence that attracts healthy and meaningful connections, rather than a needy presence that repels them. Imagine your life is a large, vibrant, and often very loud party. There are conversations, there is music, there are demands on your attention from every corner of the room. This is the necessary and often joyful engagement with the world. But in the midst of this party, the most important person in your life, your own soul, your deepest wisdom is trying to speak to you. But it does not shout, it speaks in a whisper. In the clamor of the party, you can never hear it. You might catch a word here or there, but you can never grasp the full, loving, and essential message. The practice of solitude is the simple act of noticing this whisper and saying to the crowd, "Please excuse me for a moment." It is the act of consciously stepping away from the noise, walking through a door, and entering a quiet, peaceful garden. And in the stillness of that garden, you can finally turn to your soul and say, "I'm here now. I'm listening. What did you want to tell me?" You do not need your soul to shout. You only need to create the quiet space to hear its whisper. This is the wealth of solitude. It is the greatest treasure you can ever give yourself. From the quiet richness of solitude, you have discovered an inner wellspring. You have learned that you are not an empty vessel waiting to be filled by the world, but a full and overflowing source in your own right. Having touched this place of inner sufficiency, you are now ready to engage with one of the most powerful, paradoxical, and magical laws of prosperity. You are ready to understand that the fastest way to receive is to give. You are ready to learn that the open hand is the only hand that can be filled. This is the divine paradox of giving. The scarcity program, the ghost in the machine, has taught you to hoard. It operates from the terrified belief that resources are finite, that life is a zero-sum game, and that another's gain is your loss. From this perspective, giving is an act of depletion. It is a loss. The scarcity mindset clenches its fist around what little it has, fearing that if it opens its hand, it will be left with nothing. It holds its breath, afraid to exhale lest it run out of air. And in this state of clenched, breathless fear, it inadvertently cuts itself off from the very flow of life it so desperately craves. The abundance mindset operates from a completely different understanding of reality. It knows that the universe is not a sealed vault of limited resources, but an open, dynamic, and infinitely generous system. It understands that energy, whether it takes the form of love, time, kindness, or money, is like blood. It must circulate to be healthy. To hoard it is to cause it to stagnate and decay. Giving from this perspective is not an act of loss. It is the essential act of ensuring circulation. It is the exhale that makes the next inhale possible. It is the courageous act of creating a vacuum, a space, which the endlessly abundant universe abhors and must immediately rush to fill, often from channels you could never have anticipated. This is the inner conflict that you must now resolve. It is the primal fear of not having enough, pitted against the spiritual law of flow. Your logical mind, trained in the mathematics of a closed system, will tell you, if you have $10 and you give one away, you are left with 9. This is a loss. The spiritual law of an open system says, when you give that $1 with a heart full of joy and trust, you are sending a powerful signal of abundance into the universe. You are declaring, I have more than enough. My source is limitless. And the universe, which is a mirror of your conviction, responds by flooding you with more. The conflict is a choice between trusting the evidence of your senses, which see only the finite, and having faith in the unseen law of circulation, which is sourced in the infinite. The core message, the secret that turns paupers into princes, is this: the clenched fist can receive nothing. You cannot catch the blessings of the universe if your hands are tightly closed, clutching the little you already have. The act of giving is the physical and energetic representation of opening your hands. In that moment of release, you become receptive. Furthermore, you must give from the place you wish to receive from. If you desire more love in your life, you must become a more loving person. If you desire more time and ease, find a way to give your time to help someone else without feeling rushed. If you desire more appreciation, give sincere appreciation to others freely. And if you desire more financial prosperity, you must become a channel for generosity. You must give with a joyful heart from the resources you have now, no matter how humble they may seem. This act tells the universe that you are ready to be a responsible and joyful steward of its wealth. Let us ground this law in a simple daily practice of conscious giving. This practice is not about the amount. It is entirely about the energy with which the gift is given. Your commitment is to find one small way to give each day, without any expectation of return. Give a sincere, specific compliment to a coworker or a stranger. Leave a book you enjoyed on a park bench for someone else to find. When you are in a line, consciously send loving, peaceful energy to the person in front of you. And yes, give money. Buy a coffee for the person behind you. Leave a larger tip than is expected, not with a feeling of extravagance, but with a quiet, joyful feeling of, I have more than enough. Find a cause you believe in and set up a small, recurring donation. Even a single dollar, given with the pure energy of joyful contribution, does more to align you with prosperity than $10,000 given with a feeling of grudging obligation. The key to this practice is to release any and all attachment to the outcome. Do not look for a direct thank you. Do not expect the person you helped to help you in return. Your transaction is not with the person. Your transaction is with the universe itself. You are putting joyful, abundant, generous energy into the system, and you must trust the system to return it to you, multiplied, in its own perfect time and its own perfect way. As you perform your small act of giving, pay close attention to the feeling it creates inside your own body. Notice the sensation of expansion in your chest. Notice the warmth. That feeling is the immediate return on your investment. That feeling is you, in that moment, becoming a vibrational match to abundance. The more you cultivate that feeling through acts of giving, the more your outer reality will have no choice but to rearrange itself to match it. Imagine that the prosperity of the universe is a great and powerful river. The scarcity mindset teaches you to stand by the river with a small cup, hoping to catch a bit of its spray. The abundance mindset understands that you are not meant to be a spectator of the river. You are meant to be a part of the river itself. You are meant to be a channel through which its life-giving waters can flow. The source of the river is infinite, high in the unseen mountains of spirit. It flows down to you, and your job is to allow it to flow through you, back into the great ocean of life, nourishing everything along its way. A person who only takes, who only hoards, is like someone who builds a dam to stop a section of the river, creating a private pond. For a while, they may feel secure with their captured water, but soon, with no fresh water flowing in and no outlet, the pond becomes stagnant. It becomes lifeless, foul, and diseased. This is the energy of the hoarder, the clenched fist. A person who learns to give is a living, flowing river. They joyfully receive the abundance flowing to them from the source, and they joyfully release it and pass it on, knowing with absolute certainty that the source is inexhaustible and the flow will never cease. This act of giving is what keeps the channel clear, deep, and wide. It is what ensures that the life-giving waters of prosperity will continue to flow through you with ever-increasing power and grace. Be the river, not the stagnant pond. Open your hand, exhale, and watch as the universe, in its boundless generosity, rushes to fill you anew. After journeying through the inner landscapes of your mind, after stilling the lake of your thoughts, after learning to broadcast the frequency of having and to trust the currents of the universe, after stepping into the forge of discipline, magnetizing your world with gratitude, and opening your hands to the paradox of giving, a fundamental shift in your perception begins to occur. It is a change so profound that it alters your very identity. You began this journey as a seeker. You came here looking for something, an answer, a secret, a key to the prosperity that felt separate from you. Now, you are on the precipice of a great realization. The chase is over. Your journey is not to find something you lack. Your journey is to become capable of holding what is already being given. You are not the seeker. You are the vessel. For most of your life, you have operated from the identity of a seeker. The seeker is an identity rooted in the story of lack. The very act of seeking declares that what you desire is out there, separate, distant, and something you must strive for, hunt down, and capture. The seeker's energy is restless, anxious, and perpetually hungry. It is the energy of the hungry ghost, always looking to the next meal, the next acquisition, the next achievement to finally feel whole, yet never finding lasting satisfaction. The seeker believes that their emptiness can be filled by something external. This is the great illusion that keeps you on the treadmill of desire, always chasing a horizon that recedes as you approach it. The universe, in its wisdom, cannot give you what you seek, because the very energy of seeking affirms its absence. Now consider a different identity, the identity of a vessel, a container. A vessel does not chase, it does not hunt. Its primary function is not to do but to be. Its power is not in its movement, but in its stillness. A vessel's worth is determined by two qualities: its integrity and its capacity. Its integrity is its strength, its wholeness, its ability to hold what is poured into it without leaking. Its capacity is its emptiness, its openness, its readiness to receive. Look back upon the journey you have taken. Every practice you have undertaken has been an exercise in becoming a better vessel. The forge of discipline has been strengthening your walls, making you a container of integrity. The act of forgiveness has been patching the old cracks of past hurts, stopping the leaks where your power would drain away. The practices of stillness and solitude have been emptying you of the noisy debris of the world, creating more capacity, more space inside. The energy of gratitude has been polishing your surface, making you a radiant, magnetic container. And the paradox of giving is the law that governs all vessels. You must pour out to be filled anew. This shift from seeker to vessel is perhaps the most challenging and liberating transition of the soul. The ego loves the identity of the seeker. It is a heroic role. It is a story full of drama, struggle, and eventual, hard-won triumph. The ego wants to be the hero who slays the dragon of lack and captures the treasure of abundance. It is an identity based entirely on doing, on striving, on controlling. The identity of the vessel, however, feels passive and threatening to the ego. If I am not chasing, what am I doing? If I stop striving, have I given up? The ego panics because in a state of pure receptivity, it has no job. The final conflict on this path is between the ego's addiction to the heroic struggle and the soul's deep understanding that all true power lies in effortless allowance. It is the final, graceful surrender of the doer into a state of pure being. The core message, the liberating truth for this stage of your journey, is this: stop seeking, start receiving. The universe, the source of all life, is not withholding anything from you. It is, and has always been, in a state of constant, radiant, and unconditional outpouring. It is a waterfall of infinite abundance, raining down love, creativity, joy, and wealth at all times. The limitation has never been in the supply. The limitation has always been in our capacity to receive. Your work, therefore, is no longer to try and get more from the universe. Your work is to become more for the universe. It is to focus entirely on expanding your own container. When you do this, the receiving takes care of itself. To anchor this profound shift in your daily life, you must change the fundamental question that drives your actions. The seeker's question is, what must I do to get what I want? This question sends your mind outward, into a world of strategy, of hustle, of manipulation, of effort. It focuses on effects. Now, you will begin to ask the vessel's question. In your moments of quiet contemplation, ask this instead: who must I become to allow what I desire to flow to me effortlessly? This is a question of an entirely different order. It does not send your mind outward, but inward. It is not about a to-do list. It is about a to-be list. It focuses on the cause, which is your own state of being. Sit with this question in your stillness. Who must I become? The answers will not be action steps. The answers will be qualities of being. The answer might be, I must become more peaceful, or I must become more trusting, or I must become a person who embodies integrity and self-respect, or I must become more organized and a better steward of the resources I already have. These answers are your new work. Your work is to cultivate these qualities of being, knowing that as you become the person who can handle the abundance you desire, that abundance has no choice but to find you. You are no longer chasing it. You are attracting it by becoming its energetic equal. Imagine that the abundance of the universe is a torrential downpour. It is raining gold coins, brilliant ideas, and opportunities for love and joy everywhere, all the time. The seeker is the person running around frantically in this downpour with a tiny thimble, trying to catch the rain. They are exhausted, soaked, and at the end of the day, they have only a few drops to show for their immense effort. They look at their thimble and curse the sky for its stinginess, not realizing they are standing in the middle of a deluge. The one who understands that they are a vessel stops running. They realize the problem is not a lack of rain, but a lack of capacity. So they ignore the rain completely and turn their full attention to their own preparedness. They stop trying to catch the drops and they start building barrels. They build them with the strong wood of discipline. They seal them with the tar of forgiveness. They empty them of debris through stillness. They place them in the open field with the faith of detachment. They build dozens of them large, strong, sturdy, and open to the sky. And then they simply stand back and let the rain do what it has always been doing. The barrels fill themselves. This is your work now. Stop chasing the raindrops. Build a bigger vessel. The vessel you have so carefully built and faithfully tended to has begun to fill. The practices are working. The synchronicities are increasing. Opportunities are appearing from unexpected quarters. And the palpable sense of struggle and lack that once defined your days has begun to recede, replaced by a new feeling of ease and flow. There is a deep, quiet joy in this. It is the joy of seeing your inner work reflected in the mirror of the outer world. It is the harvest you have so longed for. In this moment of arrival, it is tempting to believe that the journey is over. But now, a new and more subtle phase of your transformation begins. You have learned how to attract abundance. Now, you must learn how to live with it. You must navigate the tests. As your financial and material reality begins to expand, you may be surprised to find a new species of fear taking root in the garden of your mind. For some, the fear of losing what they have gained can become even more acute than the old pain of not having it in the first place. When you had nothing to lose. Now, with a growing abundance, a new, more sophisticated version of the scarcity program can activate. It whispers, "This is too good to be true. When will the other shoe drop? How will you protect this? What if you make a mistake and lose it all?" This is the first test, the test of attachment. It is the universe checking to see where you have placed your faith in the temporary form of the money, or in the eternal, creative power within you that attracted it. Alongside this, the imposter syndrome you worked so hard to dissolve may reappear in a new guise. As you move into new levels of success, you may feel a sense of guilt, especially if those you love are still struggling. A voice may whisper, "Who am I to have this much when others have so little? Do I truly deserve this ease?" This is the second test, the test of worthiness on a larger scale. It is the universe checking to see if you have truly accepted your divine inheritance, or if you will allow a misplaced sense of guilt to sabotage your good and cause you to shrink back into a state of lack that feels more familiar and fair. And then there is the test of pressure. The very freedom you sought through prosperity can, paradoxically, begin to feel like a new form of bondage. The responsibility of managing your new resources, of making wise decisions, of sustaining this new level of being can create a stress all its own. The joyful creator can become the anxious groundskeeper, terrified of letting the magnificent estate fall into disrepair. And with your success, your relationships will inevitably shift. Some will celebrate with you, but others may reveal a hidden envy. New people may be drawn to you, and you will have to learn a new level of discernment to distinguish genuine connection from those attracted only to your newfound wealth. These are the growing pains of prosperity. The core message, the truth that will be your anchor through this new territory, is this: these challenges are not a sign that you are failing. They are irrefutable proof that you are succeeding. They are not punishments, they are promotions. You have graduated to a more advanced level of the curriculum of consciousness. The universe is not testing you to see if you will break. It is applying a gentle, consistent pressure to help you solidify your new form, to temper the steel you have forged. The ultimate lesson of this phase is to fully and finally shift your sense of security away from the contents of your vessel and onto the vessel itself and its connection to the infinite river. Your true source is not the money in your bank account. Your true source is the consciousness within you that knows how to align with the flow of money. The money is a temporary effect. The consciousness is the eternal cause. Effects can come and go. The cause, once realized, is yours forever. When these new anxieties arise, the fear of loss, the guilt of having, the pressure of maintaining the solution is not to learn more sophisticated external strategies. The solution is to return to the foundational tools that brought you here in the first place. Your inner work is now more important than ever. When you feel the grip of fear, return to gratitude. Immediately shift your focus from what you are afraid of losing to what you are grateful for having in this very moment. This instantly changes your vibration from fear back to sufficiency. When you feel the pressure to manage it all, return to stillness. Give yourself 10 minutes of silence to disconnect from the new noise of responsibility and reconnect with the quiet, peaceful source within you that is the true manager of your affairs. Remind yourself that you are not the doer, but the vessel through which the divine does its work. And when you doubt your worthiness, return to the practice of feeling it real. Inhabit the state of calm, secure, and peaceful abundance that is independent of any external number. This reminds your subconscious that your feeling of wealth is the cause, not the result, of your bank balance. The tools that enabled you to attract abundance are the very same tools that will enable you to sustain and expand it. Think of your journey in this way. Learning to overcome your initial scarcity mindset was like deciding to learn how to drive. For years, you were too afraid to even get in the car. Then, you began the inner work, the visualizations, the affirmations, the discipline. This was you, in an empty parking lot with a trusted instructor, learning the basic controls. You learned how to start the engine, how to steer, how to brake, all in a safe and predictable environment. Seeing the first signs of prosperity flow into your life was the moment the instructor said, "Excellent. You've mastered the parking lot. You're ready for the road." Now, navigating the tests of abundance is your first time merging onto a busy, multi-lane highway during rush hour. The speed is faster. There are thousands of other cars, new variables, new relationships, new responsibilities. It requires a higher level of focus, confidence, and trust in the skills you have developed. At first, it is intimidating. You may grip the wheel too tightly. You may feel a surge of panic. But as you continue to drive, applying the fundamental principles you learned in the parking lot, checking your mirrors, holding a steady speed, breathing, you begin to realize you can handle it. You learn to flow with the traffic. Mastering the highway is what transforms you from a student driver into a truly free and competent one, capable of driving anywhere you wish to go. Do not be afraid of the highway. It is a sign that you are no longer confined to the parking lot. You are on your way. Having navigated the initial tests of abundance, having learned to live with a fuller vessel without being capsized by the new waves of responsibility and fear, you arrive at a high plateau of understanding. From this new vantage point, you are able to see the landscape of your life and the very nature of prosperity itself with new eyes. This is where the final, great illusion of the material world dissolves. It is the illusion of the destination. It is the realization that prosperity is not a place at which you arrive, but a direction in which you are perpetually traveling. It is the discovery of the infinite horizon. Throughout your life, you have been conditioned to think of success and prosperity as a destination. It was a number in a bank account, a particular house on a specific street, a title on a business card, a finish line to be crossed. This is a trap set by the human mind, which craves certainty and finality. The mind believes that happiness is a prize to be won, a location to be reached. It tells you, once I have that, then I will be happy. Then I will be secure. Then I can finally rest. But you may have already experienced the hollowness of this promise. You reach a goal, and the satisfaction is fleeting. For a moment, there is relief. But almost immediately, the mind, which thrives on problems and the process of seeking, creates a new, more distant destination. The finish line moves. This is the mechanism of perpetual dissatisfaction. It ensures you are always living in the future, always striving for a contentment that is just out of reach. This is the great inner conflict of the advanced soul. The human desire to finally arrive clashes with the divine nature of life itself, which is ceaseless growth, evolution, and expansion. The universe knows no stasis. To stop expanding is to begin stagnating. The part of you that is tired and weary of the journey longs to reach a final harbor, to anchor the ship and declare the voyage complete. But the infinite divine part of you, the consciousness that you truly are, knows that the joy is not in being anchored in the harbor, but in the thrill of navigating the open sea. It knows that the purpose of life is not to reach an end, but to fall in love with the process of becoming. The ultimate liberation is to let go of the need for a finish line and to embrace the beauty of an infinite race. Here we arrive at the most profound and peaceful definition of prosperity. This is the core message that will set you free from the tyranny of goals. True prosperity is not having everything you want. True prosperity is the unshakable cellular knowing that you possess the inner capacity to create or attract anything you truly need, precisely when you need it. It is a fundamental shift in your identity, from a person who has things to a person who creates realities. Your security is no longer located in your bank account, your property, or your portfolio, all of which are external and subject to change. Your security is now located in the one place it can never be threatened, within your own consciousness. It is the quiet, calm, absolute faith in your own creative power, your own connection to the infinite source. This is the only true wealth, and it is the only true freedom. A person with this inner knowing can lose everything the world considers valuable and feel no fear, for they know they are the source of it all and can bring it forth again. A person without this inner knowing can have billions of dollars and still live in a state of constant, terrified lack, for they believe their source is external and could vanish at any moment. To live from this new understanding, you must change the way you set your intentions. You will now shift from static goals to dynamic intentions. A static goal is a finite destination. I want to have $1 million. Once you achieve it, the goal is dead, and the mind must invent a new one. A dynamic intention is a way of being, a direction of travel. My intention is to become a person who is a clear and open channel for financial well-being and creative inspiration. Can you feel the difference? The first is a destination to be reached. The second is a state of being to be embodied continuously. A dynamic intention can never be finished. There is no end to becoming a clearer channel. There is no final arrival point for embodying creativity. This shift removes all the pressure. The focus is no longer on a future destination, but on the quality of your being and the direction of your travel in this present moment. Your joy is found not in the arrival, but in the journey of becoming that person today. Imagine your journey as the climbing of a great mountain. The seeker, the person you were before, believes the entire point of the endeavor is to reach the summit of this one particular mountain. They put their head down, they struggle, they focus only on the peak, believing that all of life's meaning is waiting for them there. After their long journey of inner work, they do, finally, reach the top. They straighten their back, wipe the sweat from their brow, and look out, expecting to see a final, placid landscape. But what they see takes their breath away. They see that the mountain they have just climbed is but one small peak in a vast, majestic, and unending mountain range. Peaks of unimaginable beauty and variety stretch out before them, disappearing into an infinite horizon. The first reaction of the tired ego might be despair. You mean there is more climbing to do? But this is quickly replaced by the exhilarating recognition of the soul. The purpose was never to conquer the one mountain. The purpose was to climb high enough to see the infinite possibility. The purpose was to fall in love with the mountains themselves. From this vantage point, you see there is no end to the beauty you can experience, no limit to the heights you can explore, no final destination on this magnificent journey of expansion. The horizon you were chasing was never a fixed line. It is a living, breathing thing that expands as you move toward it. This is not a curse. It is the ultimate blessing. It is the universe's promise to you that there will always be more joy to experience, more to learn, more to create, more to become. You are an infinite being exploring an infinite reality. Stand on your newfound peak, take a deep, peaceful breath, and gaze with wonder at the magnificent, endless journey that lies before you. As you learn to live on the infinite horizon, embracing prosperity not as a destination, but as a continuous journey of expansion, another profound shift occurs. Your focus naturally begins to turn outward, not from a place of seeking, but from a place of overflowing. Standing on the mountaintop of your own becoming, you realize that the light you have cultivated is not just for you. Its radiance spills over, illuminating the valleys below. Your personal transformation begins to have an impersonal, collective impact. You begin to understand the truth of your energetic legacy. You are a transmitter, a broadcasting tower of consciousness. Every moment of every day, the sum total of your beliefs, feelings, and assumptions is being sent out as a clear signal into the collective field of humanity. When you were operating from the scarcity program, you were broadcasting a frequency of fear, anxiety, and lack. You were, unconsciously, contributing to the very sea of struggle you were drowning in. As you have done the deep, courageous work of changing your inner state, you have changed your broadcast. You now transmit a signal of peace, of trust, of worthiness, of abundance. This is more than a poetic idea. It is a principle of energetic physics. Your very presence has begun to change the environment around you. People will feel it, even if they cannot name it. They will feel calmer in your presence because your regulated nervous system subconsciously gives their nervous system permission to relax. They will feel more hopeful after a conversation with you, not because you offered them any specific advice, but because your field of possibility invisibly expands their own. Your state of inner abundance does not create envy in those who are ready. It awakens a dormant memory of their own inner abundance. You become, simply by being, a catalyst for transformation in others. This is the effortless service that flows from an awakened heart. Your peace pacifies, your trust inspires, your freedom liberates. This is where a new and subtle inner conflict can arise. Having discovered this powerful truth, having found a path that has brought you so much peace and joy, the natural, compassionate impulse is to share it. You look at your loved ones, your friends, the world, and you see them suffering in the same traps you have just escaped from. You want to give them the map. You want to shout the answers from your mountaintop. You want to save them. This desire, while born of love, can quickly be co-opted by the ego. The ego loves the role of the teacher, the expert, the savior. It is another form of the heroic seeker identity. This can lead you to preach, to try and convince, to push your truth onto those who are not yet ready or willing to hear it. And this always creates resistance. You cannot force someone to awaken. You cannot argue someone into a state of abundance. To try to do so is a subtle form of energetic violence. It is an imposition of your will onto the sacred sovereignty of another's journey. The great conflict is between your ego's desire to be the teacher and your soul's wisdom that your only job is to be the lesson. The core message you must now embody is one of profound, non-attached service. Your true legacy will not be measured by what you have accumulated, but by the energy you have radiated. Your greatest gift to the world is not the wisdom you can speak, but the state of being you can maintain. The most transformative, healing, and uplifting thing you can possibly do for anyone, or for the planet as a whole, is to become a living, breathing embodiment of peace, wholeness, and prosperity. Why? Because a living example is an undeniable permission slip. When you demonstrate that it is possible to live in a state of grace and flow, you silently override the collective belief that life must be a struggle. You become a beacon of possibility, showing others a different way to be, not by telling them, but simply by being it. Your life becomes the sermon, your joy becomes the teaching, your peace becomes the ministry. The practical application of this wisdom is to live your principles with a quiet and profound authenticity. Let go of the need to fix or convert anyone. Release the burden of feeling responsible for anyone else's awakening. Honor the fact that every soul has its own perfect timing, its own unique curriculum, and its own sacred path. Your only responsibility is to your own light. Instead of talking about your meditation practice, let people witness the unshakable calm it has brought you. Instead of explaining the law of attraction, let people marvel at the grace and synchronicity that fills your life. Instead of lecturing on worthiness, treat yourself with such profound self-respect that it inspires others to do the same. And when people are ready, they will come to you. They will not come because you have preached, but because they have noticed. They will say things like, "You seem so different these days. There's a peace about you." Or, "How do you stay so calm when everything is so chaotic?" Or, "Things just seem to work out for you. What's your secret?" This is a genuine invitation. When the student is ready, the teacher appears, and when they ask, you share. You share humbly, from your own experience, not from a place of dogma. You share your journey, your struggles, and what you have found to be true for you, always honoring that their path may be different. You offer your wisdom as a gift, with no attachment to whether they accept it or not. You are a gardener who has learned to cultivate a beautiful oasis. You do not run out into the desert and force water down the throats of thirsty travelers. You simply tend to your garden, and its beauty and vibrancy will naturally attract those who are seeking shade and water. This is the ultimate evolution of your being on this path. You cease being a lifeboat and you become a lighthouse. The lifeboat is the ego's heroic fantasy. It is noisy. It frantically races through the stormy seas, chasing after individual ships in distress. It can only save a few, and it is an exhausting, draining endeavor, full of drama and self-importance. But the lighthouse embodies the wisdom of the soul. It does not chase anything. It does not shout instructions or warnings. It does not judge the ships that are sailing dangerously close to the rocks. Its task is elegantly simple. It anchors itself firmly to the bedrock of its own truth. It connects to its inexhaustible source of power, and then its only job is to shine. It radiates its light steadily, calmly, and unconditionally out into the darkness. It is a silent, powerful, and reliable beacon. Some ships will use its light to correct their course. Some will use it to find their way back to the harbor. Some may be too far away or too lost in the storm to even notice it. The lighthouse does not worry about this. The lighthouse does not concern itself with the choices of the ships. The lighthouse has only one job, one purpose, one legacy: to be a light. Be the lighthouse. Stand in your truth and shine. And so we arrive, not at an end, but at a beginning. We come to the place where all the paths of our inner journey converge. You have faced the ghost of scarcity and named it. You have reclaimed the power of your imagination. You have shattered the mirror of unworthiness. You have become the guardian of your attention. You have found the power in stillness, the magic in feeling, the integrity in discipline, the magnetism in gratitude. You have learned to sail on the winds of inspired action, to read the language of the universe, to trust the compass of your body. You have dissolved the debts of the past, discovered the wealth of solitude, and opened your hands to the paradox of giving. You have become the vessel, navigated the tests, and gazed out upon the infinite horizon. Each of these was a step, a practice, a conscious effort. But as you continue to live from this new foundation, something miraculous happens. The practice ceases to be a practice. The effort dissolves into effortlessness. The path disappears because you have become the way. This is the great synchronization, This is the state where the separation between you and the flow dissolves completely. You no longer need to do the techniques because you have become the energy behind them. Gratitude is no longer a journal entry you write in the evening. It is the very lens through which your eyes perceive the world. Discipline is no longer a non-negotiable you must force yourself to do. It is simply the joyful, natural expression of your own self-respect. Stillness is no longer a 5-minute practice you must schedule. It is the silent, peaceful ground of your being from which you live and move. You no longer consult your body's compass to make a decision. You are so fully inhabiting your body that you naturally move toward that which is expansive and away from that which is contractive, without a moment of conscious thought. The principles are no longer a set of tools you use. They have become integrated into the very fiber of your being. You are no longer a student practicing the scales. You have become the music itself. In this state of synchronization, the inner conflict that drove so much of your past life ceases to exist. The war between fear and trust is over. A deep and lasting peace has been declared. Your ego, the part of you that once needed to control, to worry, to strive, and to prove itself, has finally relaxed. It has understood that its safety and well-being are not dependent on its frantic efforts, but are guaranteed by its connection to a loving and abundant source. It has gracefully ceded its throne and taken its rightful place as a functional and valued servant of the soul, managing the details of life without the constant hum of anxiety. You no longer struggle against what is. There is a profound acceptance of the perfection of the present moment and a joyful, curious participation in its unfolding. The need to control the future has been replaced by an unshakable faith in your ability to create it. The regret that bound you to the past has been replaced by a gratitude for the wisdom it gave you. The constant, draining battle within has ended, and all of that liberated energy is now available to you for creation, for joy, and for love. The core message, the final, shimmering truth of this entire journey is this: you have come home. You have returned to the river of abundance that has, in truth, always been flowing through the center of your being. Prosperity is no longer a concept you are studying, a goal you are pursuing, or a reality you are trying to attract. You have realized that you are prosperity itself. It is not something you have, it is something you are. It is in the quality of your breath. It is in the steady rhythm of your heart. It is in the way you perceive the world, not as a place of lack and competition, but as a field of infinite possibility and benevolent support. You have ceased to look for abundance outside of yourself because you have finally and fully realized that you are its source. This is the great synchronization. The moment the Creator realizes they are not separate from their creation. You are not a drop of water in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a single drop. And so, what is the practical suggestion for one who has reached this state? What is the final technique? The beautiful paradox is that there is none. The final instruction is to let go of all instructions. The final practice is to cease all practicing. Your work is done. Now, your joyous task is simply to live, to breathe from this place of fullness, to enjoy the world from this state of grace, to savor the beauty of a simple meal, the warmth of a human connection, the pleasure of your own creativity. Your purpose is no longer to work on yourself, but to simply be the magnificent, transformed self that you have become. The tools have built the house. Now, you get to live in it. The ship has been built and the seas have been mastered. Now, you get to enjoy the voyage without constantly checking the maps and the rigging. This is the culmination of our guiding metaphor. At the beginning of this journey, you were standing on the riverbank, feeling separate from the powerful current of prosperity, perhaps even afraid of it, not knowing how to get in. Through your inner work, you found the courage to step into the water. You learned how to swim. You practiced the strokes of stillness, of gratitude, of discipline. You were a conscious swimmer in the river of life, and it felt powerful and liberating. You were in the flow, but the great synchronization is the final, breathtaking realization. As you float in this beautiful current, the sensation of the water against your skin, the feeling of being a separate swimmer being carried by the water, begins to dissolve. The boundary between you and the river disappears, and you realize, with a certainty that transcends all thought, that you are not, and never were, the swimmer. You are the river. Your consciousness is the inexhaustible source high in the mountains. Your life is the channel through which you flow, and your purpose is to pour yourself out in a constant, joyful, and loving expression into the great ocean of all that is. There is no separation. There is no other. There is only the one, divine, abundant, and beautiful flow, and you are it. You are home. We began this journey standing on the banks of a great and powerful river, watching the current of life flow by. We felt separate from it, perhaps even intimidated by its force, trying to figure out how to cross it or draw from its power. We believed our lives were a story of thirst and scarcity, lived out on the dry land of our own limitations. The work we have done together, silencing the mind, healing the past, choosing with intention, was never about building a better bucket to draw water from the river. It was about the courageous act of dismantling the dam. The dam was built of your limiting beliefs, your fears, and your sense of separation. What you perceived as emptiness was never a lack of abundance. It was merely the consequence of cutting yourself off from the fullness that has always been flowing. Now, you are no longer on the bank. You have stepped into the water. You can feel the current of life itself supporting you, carrying you, guiding you with an intelligence far greater than your own. The journey was not about filling a void. It was about realizing the void was an illusion, and that you were already immersed in a boundless ocean of well-being. This power, this ability to merge with the flow, is not a secret gift reserved for a chosen few. It is not an ancient mystery you must be initiated into. It is the dormant, potent birthright of every soul. It is sleeping within you, right now, waiting for your permission to awaken. The only key that can turn this lock is not found in any book or lecture, but in your own quiet, consistent willingness to turn inward and do the work. This is the final, liberating truth. You do not need to struggle, strive, or chase. Your work is simply to become an open channel, to stop resisting the good that is trying to reach you. The universe is not withholding prosperity from you. It is flowing to you, through you, and as you. The only question that remains is, will you allow it? The dam is broken. The river flows. Let it carry you home.